$20, $50, $100,000 in as little as 5 days. Listen, if you have a ton of equity in your house and Loan Pronto can help you turn that equity into cash, you can access up to 95% of your home's value. Use the money to pay off all your credit cards, pay off personal loans, or start that home improvement project. You can get the money you need now and still keep your primary mortgage intact. So your 3% rate, it's protected. And with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line program, 90% of the time, there's no need for an appraisal. So you can get your money super fast. Get the holiday cash you need or pay off all those credit cards before the new year. Get yourself on solid financial footing before the year ends and call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal Housing Lender, NLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Let's talk a little bit about guarantees and warranties and what they mean. I've heard you say that Underwoods guarantees the price paid on a diamond solitaire if you trade it in for a larger diamond later on, and that you give a 5-year warranty on a Rolex bought from Underwoods. Just how do you monitor all of that?
David, I think before you can talk about a guarantee or a warranty, you have to first look at a company's history of how they've treated customers in the past and how long they've been in business. Because a warranty or a guarantee is really nothing more than the word of a company. Their history and reputation will give you a good indication of how they stand behind their products. As far as how all this gets monitored, a lot of companies give you something in writing, and if you lose it, well, then you don't have a guarantee anymore. At Underwoods, we keep up with the price paid and the date of purchase, so if a customer loses their receipt, we've captured all the information and can retrieve it for them. I guess simply stated, at Underwoods, our guarantees and warranties are our word, and since 1928, that's been the most sacred thing we have to offer.
Underwood Jewelers.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. I'm Andrew Gibson for 1010XL. This update brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. In his homecoming to Jacksonville, Georgia quarterback Carson Beck threw for 315 yards and 2 touchdowns in Saturday's 43-20 victory for the Bulldogs over the Gators. Beck told reporters after the game it was emotional to play in his first Florida-Georgia game in his hometown.
Feels good, you know, it's very emotional. I was very emotional before the game. I'm usually not like that. I knew that one day I was probably going to play in this game. I mean, that's obviously lofty goals and dreams that I had when I was younger, but to come out here and do that and execute like that as a team and get a win like that against our biggest rival, it's a huge moment for us.
Georgia quarterback Carson Beck on Saturday. It's 83 degrees at 3 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Yeah, I had a hot day and it's a long way back to my home. Turn the radio on and hear it. My friend Lizzie pretend that their voice counts, but nothing amounts to anything until I hear it from you.
Frank, Hayes, Lauren, and RJ, The Frangie Show starts now on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hey, welcome in. Glad you're along for the ride on a Monday installment of the program. Our Monday is always brought to you by our friends at The Best Bet. Man, oh man, what a great time it is if you head out to The Best Bet. 3 locations. St. Augustine's the newest one. That's a beautiful room there. The big location is on Monument Road. That's Jacksonville. And, of course, Orange Park's been there for the longest time on US 17. You want to have fun? Head to The Best Bet today. Frangie, Carline, Brooks, RJ, Saunders. Win. It gets so boring. Win, Carline. Win.
Yeah, this is already the second most successful season I've ever covered in 11. No, I don't think it's maybe quite that bad.
Win.
It's amazing what they've been able to do. If you had told me when they walked off the field after the Houston debacle that they'd win 5 straight, you'd have won a lot of money from me. But it's incredible. 6-2 going into the bye. No team in the AFC has a better record. They're tied with 3 others. And you have a emerging superstar in Travis Etienne, who's 4th right now in the league in total offense, behind Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown, and Christian McCaffrey.
Are they good?
Yeah, pretty good company
there. Are they
there.
good, those players?
Yeah, and you've got a defense that is come to play 7 out of 8 games now. Just the Jaguars getting healthy, they're in a tremendous place going into the bye week.
We win, they whine, Frank. That's what seems to happen around here.
And
The Bills had that jet lag, remember, from way back, and the Steelers, man, so many officiating calls went the way of the Jaguars yesterday.
And listen, let me tell you this. I spent a lot of my life as a Steelers fan, went to Super Bowls, rooted for them. My dad and my mom rooted for them. We all rooted for the Steelers. Listen, I don't remember when I was a Steelers fan it being whiny like that. I don't remember that being a thing. Honestly,
I don't think it was.
It didn't feel like a thing before. Look, they had 3 bad calls go against them. Well, welcome to the world, man. You know, I mean, you want to count how many Jaguar bad calls we've had go against us in recent times? That's not why they lost the game. The Jags dominated that game. If the Jags don't make some uncharacteristic mistakes, that game's 34 to freaking 10. You know that, and that's what that game was. It's 34. That game's 34 to 10. It was a 34 to 10 game. It looked like a 34 to 10 game. It played out like a 34 to 10 game. But the Jags turned it over twice in the red zone, which made it a 20 to 10 game. Didn't you think?
Without a doubt. Now I will say, when the Jags are up 6, middle third, it's like, are they going to find a way to lose this game 10-9? Because that's been Pittsburgh all year. You saw it with the Ravens win that the Steelers had. Ravens handed them the game, and there was certainly a fear that was where this one was headed. And then Trevor Lawrence to Travis Etienne with one of the prettiest touchdown throws you'll ever see from a quarterback to a running back down the sideline, and they get the 2-point conversion. Now you're up 14. You feel a lot better about it. But yeah, and again, Etienne's playing at such a high level, but the defense is outstanding. I mean, to be down Tyson Campbell and Andre Sisco, Pittsburgh had one play that went for longer than 16 yards. I mean, one play. They ran 64 offensive snaps. So to have 64 plays in a game, and on your home field, you only get one play that goes further than 16 yards, it's remarkable. And even that was the 22-yard touchdown that Pickens had. So they had no plays that went over 22 yards and only one that went over 16. Just, again, a phenomenal defensive performance.
I think, to me, the biggest thing from yesterday's win, yes, it was gritty, not pretty, as the Jaguars players like to say, but the depth of this team. I mean,
great call. That was the story of the game.
Yeah, that to me was what I walked away from going, okay, so this team can be down a few stars. Andre Sisco is now a star, and Tyson Campbell is a star, and Walker Little probably is not a star because he's an offensive lineman.
He's a good player.
But he's a really good player. Certainly the second best, if you want to call Cam Robinson the best on the line. To walk away and, like you said, Frank, to really walk away going, you should have won 34-10 with those types of backups in there without really a drop-off.
I will say this. And listen, Mike Dempsey asked me, Mike and JP do our pregame on the Jaguars network, and I do a hit right before the network comes on at noon. So I do a hit about 11:50. And Mike asked me a question. He said, how worried are you that the Jags have to play without Tyson Campbell and Andre Sisco? And my answer was, look, it's an expanded, it's a multiple answer, or an answer with some levels and pieces. Number one, very concerned because I think they may both be Pro Bowl players. I would not be surprised if they're both in the Pro Bowl this year. I mean, I think, look, there's a lot of good defensive backs. I get it. And only so many can be Pro Bowlers. But Andre Sisco's got the 3 picks. Tyson Campbell, I think, is one of the best 7 or 8 corners in the league. Long, physical, fast. So that's 2 good players. But I will say, and I told Mike this in the pregame, this is the game to have 2 secondary members out because I don't think the Steelers are very good in the passing game, and they're not. And we talked about that all week, didn't we, on this show?
Yeah.
That they're just not very – Steelers aren't very good. I don't think the Steelers have a very good football team. I've said that from day one, and nothing changed my mind watching the game. I know it was 17-10, and they had the ball. I was watching. I was there. But, I mean, I don't think they have a very good football team. And so you're right, Lauren. You're down 2 – if you look at this season, you were down 2 very good defensive backs yesterday. You're down a good offensive lineman who was your left tackle for 4 games yesterday. You were down to start the season 4 games without Cam Robinson. You've been out the whole season without maybe your best interior defensive lineman in Devon Hamilton. There have been a lot of guys out. Zay Jones, a really big and important part of your passing game, has been out for a while. People say they've been kind of healthy. Well, they haven't been that healthy, and they've overcome it. They're 6-2. They got the best winning streak in the league. They're as good as any team playing. I really believe that. Someone asked me today, do you really think they're the best team in the league? I said, no, I'm not going to look here and say they're the best team in the league. What I will tell you is they are in the conversation with every team that could be considered the best team in the league. Philadelphia had to battle to beat Washington. Kansas City lost to Denver. Miami is very good but got rolled by the Buffalo team that the Jags beat, I think, more handily than the score indicates. So I don't think there's a best team in the league. I guess Philadelphia is the one you'd say because they've got the best record. But I don't think there's years where the Patriots were the best team because of Brady and then everybody else fought for second. There were a lot of years like that. In the 90s, it was the Cowboys. In the 70s, it was the Steelers. In the 80s, it was the 49ers. I don't think that exists now. I don't think there's one team that's the best team and everybody else is playing for second. I think there's a handful of teams at the top. I've been saying this. Philadelphia, Kansas City, Miami, Jacksonville, Detroit, Baltimore. I think they're all lumped in there together. I really believe this. If you asked me to pick a Super Bowl winner today, I might pick the Ravens. You know, I might pick the Eagles. I might pick the Jaguars. I think they're all kind of in there together. But am I over my skis by saying I think they're possibly as good as any team in the National Football League?
No, I don't think so. And I would agree. There's a lot of parity at the very top. I watched a lot of the Ravens game yesterday against Arizona, and I mean they won it, but there was a lot of sloppy moments for Baltimore, and they were able to win. I mean, if Lamar Jackson if he stays healthy, then yeah, I mean Baltimore has an excellent team. They've got an unbelievable defense. But I think, to your point, I think every one of these contenders has a legitimate flaw that could bite them in the tournament. And the Jags are in that boat too. I mean, but the Jags to me still have considerable upside because I just believe that the offense is going to pick it up when it comes to the mistakes and just the major moments or major stretches of games where they're mistake prone, they get out of rhythm. It's not always going to be perfect, but I still feel like I think the defense is playing probably above its head. I don't think there's any room for growth with the defense. I think what they're doing is it's going to be hard to play better than how they're playing, and that's a credit to them. That's not me knocking them. I just feel like out of 100, they've given 96% of what they can give. The offense, I think, is given 75% of what it can give. And so, I think absolutely, if you look at it from a point difference, I think the Jaguars are 8th. I think they're certainly one of the top 8 teams in the league. They're in that top quadrant, and they're right there battling. Right now, the race between 1 and 4 in the AFC in the tournament, it's wide open. You've got a division leader in each division that's 6 and 2. And, I think the Jaguars are in a really good place because they're going to come into the San Francisco game in 2 weeks, I believe, incredibly healthy. They didn't have any injuries yesterday of consequence. I would hope that other than Zay Jones, I would hope they'd have pretty much everybody back, and there's certainly a chance they could be back as well. So I think they're sitting in great position. But the offense is still, to me, the area where I feel like there is still significant room for improvement.
And that's the crazy part. We're talking about them as one of the best teams in the league, and we would all say outside of Travis Etienne, the offense is leaving certainly lots of points on the field.
Yeah, it has, and I think that. But the offense is going to find it. They're going to find that rhythm. There's no doubt about that. We'll see. The rhythm may be different than last year's rhythm. They're going to find that rhythm. So we'll see. We'll talk a little bit about the Jags, why the win happened, how the win happened, where they're headed after this. They have won 75% of their games 8 games into the season. This is the first time they have won at least 75% of their games 8 games in since 99. You know that?
I'm going to party like it's 1999.
It's the first time since 1999 that through 8 games, which used to be the halfway point, this is the first time through 8 games they have had at least 6 wins through what was the halfway point since 1999. I mean, think about it.
It's another lifetime ago.
Yeah.
I mean, this generation of Jaguars fans, they probably don't remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, this first wave of Jaguar fans since birth.
Yeah.
It's incredibly exciting because it's unprecedented. I mean, we remember it. But I'll be honest, 99, you're going back a ways.
Yeah.
I mean, that's only 3 years after Florida won its first national title. So which feels like it was a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
So it really is. It's a long stretch, and we're gonna enjoy every minute of it.
Well, I mean, I can tell you, we were talking about in our family. My daughter just had her 31st birthday last week. She had her 31st birthday. She was 6 when that season started. Think about, she was in the first grade when that season started. You know, I mean, think about that. I mean, she's been in the workplace now for 9 years.
Right.
I mean, if you think, that's my perspective. So we'll talk about that. I got a lot of things to talk about today. Let's start with the Jaguars. Great win on the road, a place where they've now won, by the way, 8 of the last 10 times they've played there.
It's incredible.
Heinz Field, Acrisure Stadium, whatever you call it. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 8-2 in that building in their last 10 trips to it. Think about that. I'm not sure
amazing.
The Patriots are 8-2 in their last 10 trips there.
It's hard to be 8-2 on the road anywhere,
It really
let alone
is.
a team that's got 6 Super
6
Bowls.
rings. Team with
Yeah,
6 rings.
wow.
Hard to believe so. We'll talk about the Jags. We'll get to Florida, Georgia. We'll get to college football. The playoffs come out tomorrow. All kind of fun stuff to get to. But let's start with the Jags getting to 6-2. This is 1010XL, and it's 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
On the field, he brought the boom.
I'll always be a linebacker at heart.
He brings that attitude to the microphone.
I'm Jaguars Today's middle linebacker, Kyle McMahon.
Friday from 10 to noon. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Football is back, and so is truck season. Frank Frangie here. Nimnick Chevrolet is proud to be Northeast Florida's Silverado truck headquarters. With nearly 200 Silverados in stock, your perfect truck is waiting for you at Nimnick Chevrolet. Plus, well-qualified buyers can get rates as low as 0% APR financing. Yes, 0% APR and no payments for 90 days on select Silverado 1500 pickup. So visit NimnickChevy.com or visit Nimnick at the corner of Park Street and Cassett Avenue. Chevy, find new roads.
I had a question about my insurance the other day, so I called my new State Farm agent. And would you believe I talked to the same person who remembered my name? They said that was called service. And then they asked if my dog Max was over his cold. They called that service too. And then they helped me find ways to save on my home and auto coverage. I asked State Farm what they called that. They said service.
Call State Farm agent Jason Judy, 416-1732.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gates store anywhere around Duval and make yours a Dandy. And do it today.
What? They did not tell me they were going to do that. I need a new bank.
Well, actually, One-to-One Financial doesn't do the usual bank surprises because we're not a bank. We're a credit union. And that means lower loan interest, things like free checking and member rewards, and of course, total investment back into our community.
I'm sold.
Find a better way to bank than big banks with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Visit 121fcu.org for more information on opening an account today.
Federally insured by NCUA.
Ticket here, Zero Res turns 19 this month. To celebrate, just say happy birthday, Zero Res, and they'll give you $50 off your cleaning. Some minimums may apply, so give them a call. Happy birthday, Zero Res. Spelled forwards or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. There are only 10 Friday nights in a high school football season. That's why everyone counts. After the game, join Hacker and Andrew Gibson.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Friday Night Lights.
Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
Mia here. If you found a $100 bill on the ground, you wouldn't walk past it. So why are you passing up on cashing winners every weekend? MyBookie has the biggest online selection of odds and contests to fill all your sports betting needs, anytime, anywhere, so you can turn that sports knowledge into cash in your wallet. Bet on the NFL, MLB playoffs, or play for a share of big cash prizes in the weekly blackjack tournaments. If you've been waiting for the right time to get in on the action, that time is now. Make your winning move today. What better week than the cocktail party ahead, as well as the Jags traveling to face the Steelers on Sunday. Sign up at MyBookie, use promo code 1010XL, and claim your deposit match, redeemable up to $1,000. Again, that's promo code 1010XL to claim your bonus. Experience the thrill of sports betting right from the comfort of your home. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
Looking for the best deal on your next set of tires? Tire Outlet never falls flat. We offer the best selection, best quality, and the best prices on tires so that you can find the right ones for your vehicle. And with over 40 years of experience, 15 locations across Florida, and a legendary price match guarantee, you can trust that your vehicle is in great hands. Our skilled technicians are ready to maintain and repair your vehicle to keep it operating its best. Tire Outlet, wholesale prices, premium service.
Tire Outlet. Okay, listen up, team. They're out to test our reputation as the best plumber in Jax, so we gotta play like the experts we are. When customers call with leaky faucets, broken water heaters, toilet repairs, broken pipes, or any other challenge, we'll give them a solution fast. Now, who are we?
Roland Reese Plumbing!
I can't hear you.
Roland Reese Plumbing!
Now that's what a winner sounds like. Customers always win with Roland Reese Plumbing at plumberinjax.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
You've got a circle of friends, right? Well, how about a circle of beer? All your favorites like Bud Light, Bud Heavy, Mick Ultra, or Natty Light. It's all there in the cold case at Circle K. Probably one right around the corner right now calling your name. Slide on in to a Circle K.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
The rest of the NFL are afraid that the Jaguars are this good.
And the Jaguars have beaten the Pittsburgh Steelers 20-10 at Acrisure Stadium.
5 in a row, baby. How about them Jags? Let's go.
We're just getting started, and we know what's in front of us.
Travis Etienne, right sideline, 15, 10, 5, into the end zone, touchdown.
That's whole defense I wanted every week.
The Jags pick it off, and they're going to run it back. Andrew Wingard stepped up and picked that thing off.
Man, very proud of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Good time to be a Jaguar. I've never felt so hopeful in my life.
We're 6-2. Jags.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
Frank Franchise Carline, Lauren Brooks, RJ Saunders with you. All right. You heard kind of how it sounded. What are the key reasons? Give me three in order. Hayes first. Of why they won and why they're 6-2.
They're 6-2 because they're together as a team. That's the number one thing. And in pro sports, that's hard to find. But they are. They didn't bat an eye when Houston came in here and embarrassed them. They regrouped to win 5 games in 5 different stadiums, short week, traveling, all that stuff, intense divisional games, going on the road to a 4-2 team and winning. So that speaks to their toughness. And I always associate the Jaguars with being a young team. They're not. This is a team that's got a lot of guys on their second contract. The quarterback's on his rookie deal, and there's some others. But a lot of these guys are 25 to 27 and have seen a thing or two in this league. And I think that's bared out. So I'd say the first thing has just been the fact that they're together and there's harmony. The second thing is the defense has just been outstanding. I mean, much better than we could have ever anticipated. And thirdly, the offense, to its credit, is finding in this streak, they're finding the plays late to win the game, or they're surging early. But they're at least having enough moments where they're providing the defense what they need. So for me, it would be those three.
I would say Doug Peterson, Travis Etienne, and the defense. Doug Peterson and Press Taylor, the combination, have gotten the quarterback every play he needs to make. They have scripted and worked with him, and of course Trevor's going to make issues or have some issues here and there, make some mistakes, but overall Doug Peterson has done an excellent job coaching not just the quarterback but this team. The defense, like Hayes said, I mean, none of us expected this. We thought maybe individually, Frank, they had some talent there,
right,
but none of us expected this type of performance week in and week out, other than the 1 week. And then Travis Etienne. I don't think this team is 6-2 without him.
I totally agree with that. Hayes, you said together. You know, the operative word, the kind of the cool word now, the trendy word in sports is complementary football. That's the phrase that everybody likes to use now. What complementary football means is if your offense is struggling, your defense steps up. If you're a defensive team, then your special teams punch them out inside the 10-yard line. If you're an offensive, you know what I mean, you have to, your offense has to play based on how your defense plays. That's what complementary football is. They've been great at that. To your point about together, they've been great at that. And I will tell you, so for me, Doug Peterson's the reason. Trevor, you got to have the quarterback, and he's been so good. Yeah, I know he threw a bad interception, but he's been so good. I agree with you about Travis Etienne. I think I asked at the handoffs, and I heard Dan and Jeff talking about it today too, and they did a great job on the drill. And I asked the guys at the handoff the same question. I asked Matt, Joe, and Mia this. If you took Christian, and I know you wrote about him, Hayes, if you took Christian McCaffrey off the ballot, is there a better back in the league than Travis Etienne right now? I don't know that there is.
There's not.
Yeah,
the numbers would tell you that.
Yeah, and the way he plays and the different things he can do. And so I think all of that. But having said all of that, I think they're 6-2 because of their defense. Despite all that good offensive stuff, Travis Etienne, what a good player Trevor Lawrence is, all the weapons outside. And believe me, that offense, they moved the sticks with Evan Ingram a bunch yesterday when you needed to keep moving the sticks. But I never saw the defense like this. That, to me, is the story of the first half of the season. I guess the first half ends at halftime of the 49ers game, right? Is that like that halfway point?
That would be it.
I mean, technically it's the
yeah.
half, right?
But I think we're safe in calling this one.
I think so too.
We're 8 games in.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But I mean, I think the story of their season to me is that defense. That is the story of the season. The fact that where's the pass rush going to come? Well, they've got the guy second in the league in sacks. Think about that. Josh Allen, the sacks. And by the way, Trayvon Walker's got, 3.5? You know, Trayvon Walker isn't playing great as a pass rusher, but by the time it's over, he might have 7 or 8 sacks. That's not a disaster.
Right.
A second-year player having 7 or 8 sacks is not a disaster. It's not. And so that I never thought – I thought Andre Cisco would be good. I never thought they'd have as good a safety combination as there is in the league, which I believe they have. I never thought Darius Williams could play like this.
It's been unbelievable.
He's been fantastic opposite Tyson Campbell. My goodness, has he been good. I just never saw all that happening. And by the way, how good is Foye Oluokun?
And Lloyd.
And Lloyd. But Oluokun he's everywhere. He's everywhere, man. I mean, he is. So the story, in my opinion, the story to this 6-2 start is the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. That to me is the story. And don't get me wrong. I'm glad we have Trevor and Travis and Doug and Calvin and Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk. You know my point, though. And let me tip the cap to Trent Baalke, everybody's been so hard on. He's made a handful of moves that have been really – you don't hit on all of them. But there's been a handful of moves that were really good, not the least of which was drafting Travis Etienne when people said you had far bigger needs in running back. It turned out to be a phenomenal draft pick. Going and getting Evan Ingram. That trade last year at this time for Calvin Ridley. What a shrewd trade that was. And by the way, you had Riley Patterson, who was fine. Riley made a big kick against the Chargers. He's fine. He's a fine NFL kicker. He's making a living in the NFL. That's good. But they knew they might have a Super Bowl team. And when you have a Super Bowl team, you don't just go get any designated hitter to get you to the World Series. You go get Miguel Cabrera if he's out there. And what they did is they knew they had a Super Bowl team, and all of a sudden, one of the best kickers in the league inexplicably is available. That guy's good. Brandon McManus is good, man. Now, part of it is because there's a bunch of really good kickers. The dang Steeler kicker's really good, too. The Ravens kicker's the best of all time. I mean, there's a lot of good kickers out there. But they knew they had a chance to go get him. How money is that guy? He's making these things in Arena League, by the way.
McManus?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
and crushing it.
And right down the middle. And And so
and plenty of leg too.
Oh,
it's not like we're waiting to see if the ball
right.
goes over the upright.
So to me, the story of this season is that defense, the way they've built this team, and just wait till that offense finds its rhythm, because it is going to. That offense, they really miss Zay Jones, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
They really miss him, not just the way he plays. Remember the timeout when they were poorly aligned, had too many in the huddle or whatever it was, and, or maybe they were lined up wrong. He gives them something. You can't double or lean toward Calvin Ridley when he's on the field. You can't. And so wait till they get them all back. To me, the story of the team is this magnificent defense that I never thought would be like this.
They lead the NFL in takeaways by 3, and they're 5th on third down now after a tremendous performance yesterday. I mean, that's elite. I don't really care what the other numbers look like. If you're 5th in third down and you lead the league in takeaways, you're a great defense. And they are 4th against the run, so those aren't the only stats that they're elite in. But even against the pass, they're 31st against the pass in terms of total yardage, but they're 12th in yards per pass play. So, that's above average. So and that's the number that you would look at, because obviously the pass defense, the gross number, the yardage number, doesn't speak to the environment of these games, which is that the Jaguars have had a lot of double-digit leads now in a lot of these games, and so the opponent is throwing it a ton. But, I mean, to be 5th in third down and lead the league in takeaways, if that continues, if that continues through the final 9 games, if you look up on January 8th and they're 5th on third down and they've led the league in takeaways, they will have home field advantage throughout.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think what's crazy, too, is Smoot and Hamilton really haven't been huge factors. Smoot, of course, came back a little bit ago. But Hamilton, like we mentioned at the top, hasn't really played. And he finally got to play a little bit yesterday, 14 snaps. And imagine the defense when he's back fully healthy, too. And they rotate a ton of defensive linemen, as you know, Frank. And so they're able to get guys fresh in there, and they just keep going at the quarterback, even if they don't always get to him.
Yeah, I like where they are, man. I like where this team is. And look, they're also built to handle adversity. They're not going 15-2. So they're going to lose a game somewhere along the line. The NFL season, I say it all the time, starts around Labor Day and ends Valentine's Day. That's a long time, man. That's a long, long time. And because it covers so much ground, there's going to be – look, I don't think the 49ers are suddenly terrible. They just lost 3 games in a row. I don't think they suddenly stink. I may be wrong. They may finish 5 and whatever, but I don't think so. The Kansas City Chiefs just lost to the Denver Broncos. They lost to the Broncos. I don't think the Broncos have beaten them since John Elway was like the quarterback.
In his second year.
I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? And so the point is, you're going to have the valleys, but I think this team is built to handle the valleys and not let it devastate them. And I think that's a big part of who they are as well.
Well, and now you've also built in a little bit of mulligans for your main goal, which is win the AFC South. Now in looking at it, you've got a really comfortable lead. Thank you, Carolina Panthers, for taking down Houston yesterday. And, in looking at that now, I mean, if the Jaguars go 5-4 in their last 9, which is certainly nothing to write – it's not bad, but it's nothing to really write home about considering they're 6-2 now, then you're asking Houston and Tennessee to play 8-2 ball over their last 10 to catch you. That's not happening. And I don't care how good Will Levis looked yesterday. They're not winning 8 of their next 10, and I can guarantee you Houston isn't. And so that's another huge thing. You've gotten to the bye with a stranglehold on this division, where unless something really bizarre, unless you lose Trevor Lawrence, I mean, it's going to take
barring
that now.
something,
But
barring
something
weird.
like that, you're going to win a second consecutive division. It's going to be your first consecutive appearance in the tournament since the 98-99 seasons. That's the kind of stuff that is just worth its weight in gold. So, yes, you've gotten back into the race for the number 1 seed, a race I thought they were out of when they started 1-2, but they're back in now. But you've really put the rest of the division in a bad spot. And I don't even really count Indianapolis because you've already swept them. The odds that Indianapolis is going to finish a game better than you is really remote. So in looking at it, you've put pressure on Houston and Tennessee to play excellent football over their final 10 to just have a chance to catch you.
Yeah, and I think also when you look at it, it doesn't feel like we even have to really worry about playoffs right now, to your point. Like this time last year, obviously all we were talking about is can they right the ship? Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence, how can they get, on good footing? Now it's like we almost just are like, oh yeah, of course this is a playoff team. Of course.
Yeah, and I will tell you, and I never do this. I never get ahead of myself. I never worry about the math early on. I think people get too caught up in the math, and I don't do that usually. I'm putting a usually at the end of that statement. I do think it's naive to think that home field throughout's not in play, right? Home field throughout could be in play. And that doesn't mean they're going to get it, but it's crazy.
We've even got Peter King kind of taking an early victory lap today.
Exactly.
A little bit.
Yeah.
They're definitely in play for it.
Yeah,
because their hard games are here.
Yeah, home field throughout.
Cincinnati looks like they found it,
right,
but it's here. The Ravens is here. San Francisco, they're really beat up. They do have a bye, so we'll see. But that game doesn't look as daunting now, as it did a few weeks ago. And so it's a schedule that I think sets up pretty well for them to make a run at this thing. When you compare it to teams like the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Dolphins, what they have left. The Chiefs and Dolphins play Sunday morning. The best game this week is going to be the first one.
Yeah, they play
Sunday morning.
They play each other, and I think the Jags are going to go undefeated this weekend.
They are. I can guarantee that.
I feel pretty confident.
They're also not going to win, unfortunately.
We'll take
They're going to be winless and undefeated.
More NFL coming up later on in the program. Johnny O gets here at 5 o'clock, but before then we'll discuss the trade deadline and what might be happening there. But let's get into college football. Florida, Georgia is in the books. The Dogs had an easy time with the Gators. We'll talk about that and more when we continue. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Your play-by-play home of Bulls Bulldogs football is 1010XL.
Coach Sobel of the Bulls Bulldogs. Our regular season comes to a close Friday night as we travel to Berkeley Prep. Listen live on 1010 AM.
Hey, Duval, listen up. The Duval deal is happening now at Bono's. There's no better way to tailgate before a home game or host a watch party. The Duval deal serves 25 of your closest friends with 6 pounds of pork, 5 whole chickens, a gallon each of baked beans, coleslaw, and banana pudding, plus 25 pieces of garlic toast, 2 gallons of iced tea, and 2 pints of barbecue sauce. All of that for just $295, which is a $100 saving. Call 332-RIBS or go to your local Bono's today. And if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Follow every Gators game on 1010XL. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors, the official window and door replacement company of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. There's a reason so many of my friends and our listeners have had Stanley Pools build their pools and now maintain their pools, because Stanley Pools truly cares about their customers. Stanley Pools is locally owned and has been serving our community for 35 years. For all of your pool needs, call Stanley Pools at 269-7277. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools. 269-7277, or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hayes Carline for QC Kinetics. Look, are you sick and tired of living with that constant pain in your knees and back? Joint pain doesn't just keep you from doing what you love. It affects your job, your relationships, even simple things like getting dressed. It's time to call QC Kinetics. They've got 2 great locations here, Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. And look, you can get in. They have appointments available right now. This week, call them at 904-274-5522. You got to give them a chance. Hips, shoulders, elbows, they can treat everything with natural biologics from your own body. Powerful healing agents, highly concentrated. If you're tired of steroid shots that don't work, or if you're trying to avoid surgery, call QC Kinetics now to schedule your free consultation. Learn more about these exciting new cutting-edge treatments. Again, 904-274-5522. That's QC Kinetics.
Post Game Monday on 1010XL is brought to you by Dandy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff.
Clearwater. John, I can't even mow my side yard. It's so soggy. Man, my builder sucks. Brent, calm down. This is a common problem in neighborhoods where houses are built too close together. You need gutters and a properly installed French drain that will soak up subsurface water. We can completely dry it up. So I can take my builder off my speed dial now, huh? Yeah, we got you, buddy. Let that builder bitterness go.
Clearwater irrigation and drainage too.
Follow the Knowles climb back to ACC prominence.
Listen for the latest news and notes on the Knowles every week on the Seminole Report.
Brought to you by your local Ag Pro, your home team on 1010XL.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Are spooky plumbing problems haunting your home this Halloween? Don't be scared. Call Duck Duck Rooter, your ghost-busting plumbing heroes. 904-862-6769. And chase those spooky issues away. Duck Duck Rooter.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Now, how many times have we heard it? Lose weight without lifting a finger. It's tempting, isn't it? But deep down, we know there's no shortcut to true health. Number one rule, eating right. Now, you might consider the new medications, and yes, you'll see a difference, but will it last? The latest study from the Journal of Diabetes, Obesity, and Metabolism found that almost 90% of the participants regained at least half of their weight back. I wanted a solution, not a Band-Aid, so I put my trust in Awaken 180 Weight Loss, and as you all know, it's paid off great. I dropped my 25 pounds in just over a month, something I never thought I'd say about a weight loss program. It actually was easy. I haven't put a pound back on since. I finally found my solution for weight loss. You can find your solution by calling 844-346-1800. Again, 844-346-1800, or reserve your consultation online by going to awaken180weightloss.com.
You know the rule. Fall is for football. Yeah, but don't forget golf. The Golf Club of Southampton wants to remind you if football takes up most of your weekend, then tee it up during the week at Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and set up a foursome and see the great shape the course is in right now. When temps start to cool, your golf game should be heating up at Southampton. Check out the great things going on with the tremendous practice area, a course that offers tees for every skill level, and a great group of people to take care of you. It's all happening at Southampton.
This is Dr. Turner Vossler, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern is the NFL trade deadline. Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson was asked about it today.
I mean, you look and see if there's a player that can help you, you know. Again, I don't think you go searching just to search for anybody. You got to make sure it's the right fit, somebody that can obviously add, you know, value, a piece that maybe you're missing. You know, we are getting some guys healthy and back too, so that plays a factor in it, you know, here in the next few weeks. So, you know, we'll take a look, and if it's a no-brainer, you know, you pull the trigger. If not, you know, you move on with the guys you have because they're the ones that got you here.
I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
You know, we made too many mistakes today. We knew the margin of error was going to be small. I do think we can coach better, all three parts of our team. I think, obviously, looking the players in the eye after the game, I think they know that they can play better as well. And ultimately, we made too many critical mistakes.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
It is a Best Bet Monday. High hams are back at Best Bet Jacksonville from November 1st to November 30th. The highest hand every 30 minutes wins a honey-baked ham. So make sure to get there for highest hams. Frank Frangie, Hayes Carline, RJ Saunders. I am Lauren Brooks. You just heard the comments of Billy Napier following Florida's 43-20 loss. Frank, I kind of chuckled to myself after the game going, we were up in arms about that spread at 23.5 when it first came out. And as it turns out, Georgia wins by 23.
Yeah, look, listen, I got a bunch of thoughts on that game. First of all, here's the story. From the Georgia standpoint, Georgia's as good as advertised, man. They've got more good players than anybody. Carson Beck was fantastic. Tip of the cap to him. He came home in his home stadium or the stadium in his hometown and played marvelously. And I hope he gets on some Heisman list. He deserves that, and good for Georgia. Georgia's good. Georgia's as legitimately good as you thought. They were their FSU of the 80s. Or Miami of the late 80s, FSU of the 90s, Florida of the 90s. Pick your team. Pick your dynasty, Hayes. They're Oklahoma back in the day. They're Nebraska. They're really good. So Georgia is as deserving of that of all the credit they get. And it'll be interesting. They have Missouri at home. They have to go to Tennessee. It'll be a good finish for Georgia. But I think
Ole Miss too.
And Ole Miss at home as well. So they have three good teams that they have to play. Three teams that are probably better than the team they just beat. And so,
and Georgia Tech they're not going to beat Georgia,
yeah.
but they've woken up a little bit.
But it's a good finish. It's a good. Yeah, they beat North Carolina. They've beaten Miami and North Carolina. So it'll be a good finish for Georgia. And so tip of the cap to Georgia, deserving of all the accolades. And man, they have a good football team, well coached, disciplined, and man, they have dudes. As for Florida, I will tell you this: Florida wasn't going to beat Georgia. They weren't going to beat them. What you didn't want to have happen, regardless of what you think about it, was another game where when the game's over, people are questioning Billy Napier's in-game coaching acumen, where people are questioning his offensive coordinating, stretch coaching acumen. That's what you didn't want. They weren't going to win the game. They were never going to win the game. If they'd have played the perfect game, they'd have lost by 10. If they'd have played a miserable game, they'd have lost by 30. If they played kind of bad, they'd have lost, to your point, Lauren, by 20 or whatever, and the game got away from them. They don't have as many good players. Hayes' point you always make, they don't have as many experienced players. They weren't going to win the game. The concern always has been, and Hayes, you've made this point before I did, this season is not a special season, but it's a season where you have to do enough to keep that recruiting class together. You have to keep enough so the bottom doesn't fall out and Swamp Lizard 34 doesn't start trashing you. And here's the good thing. Because I don't think anybody thought they were going to win the game anyway. He's taken a beating because everybody in the public eye takes a beating, and he didn't do a very good job. It wasn't a very good, well-called game offensively again. But I don't think anybody thought he blew the game. You know what I mean? They weren't going to win the game. What that does mean, and so I say what I've said all along. I think he's going to build the roster. I think he's going to bring in good players. I think that's been proven. I think he will develop those players. My guess is he's got strength plan and nutrition and all that stuff I think he's got. I don't think he's a very good play caller. I don't think he's a very good sideline coach, and I hope he gets someone to help him. But you have to win this week because this might be the last. There's a pretty good chance this is the last one until the bowl. I'd love to see him steal one of the three. But this is the referendum game. Because if they don't win this one, then I think the Swamp Lizard 34s of the world lose their mind. That's the importance of this. So they lost a game to a team they weren't going to beat anyway. I didn't like the fourth down call. I didn't hate going for it as much as I hated the play. So that's my thought.
Yeah, and I'll sort of take all that in reverse. Arkansas is not going to be an easy game. It's a 6-point spread. Arkansas has played already at LSU, at Ole Miss, and at Alabama. And the spreads of those three games were 3 points, 7 points, and 3 points. And they're coming off a bye week. Now, yes, their record isn't very good. They've lost 6 straight. But they've been into 3 hostile environments and played very competitive football against teams that I believe are better than Florida. Because I think if Florida played LSU, Ole Miss, or Alabama on a neutral field, I think they'd lose all 3. So this is not a roll the ball out and beat Arkansas game for Florida at all. So it's a critical game for Billy Napier to get. Because if you don't get this one, then you are staring at the possibility of a 5-game losing streak to close your second season and not going to a bowl, which would be a debacle. Now, I don't think I think the expectations that some Florida fans have for him are outrageously too high for where the program was when he took it over. I mean, keep in mind, Florida's only been favored in 3 of their games. They were favored against Vanderbilt, McNeese, and Charlotte. Well, he's won 5. He's won 2 games in which he was the underdog in. And so in looking at it, again, I wrote this last week, and I'll stand by it. It's simply unfair to expect a head coach to compete for titles and beat teams like Georgia when in his second year, he's responsible for producing his quarterback, his top 3 running backs, his top 8 receiving yardage leaders, 4 of his top 5 tacklers. You can't possibly expect that team to compete. Kirby Smart gave you the greatest exhibit of the difference between the 2 schools when he took a shot at Dan Mullen, who picked Florida to win the game. And Kirby Smart said, I thought we were friends, but he didn't like to recruit. That's what it is. That's where it was. To think that in year 2, Billy Napier was going to do something like Steve Spurrier or Urban Meyer did. Steve Spurrier took over a nasty defense in 1990.
Which he told everybody.
Nasty. Oh, yeah, he doesn't hide from this.
Yeah.
And Urban Meyer took over a roster that was littered with Ron Zook blue-chip recruits. Right. Now, he got Tim Tebow, he got Percy Harvin, but the 85% of the contributors to the 06 title team were Ron Zook players. Billy Napier doesn't have any of that. Yes, I hear you out there. At some point, yes, there will be an expiration on this excuse, but that time has not yet come. It will come next year when he's in his 3rd year. He'll still be young, but at least at that point, almost all of his team is going to be Billy Napier players. I just think if you give it time, he is showing you he can bring elite talent to Florida, and that is the only way that games like the Georgia game are ever going to get competitive again, is you've got to build elite talent, which he is doing. Let the man do his job.
But for the here and now, that play call, I think the 4th down was idiotic. I understand.
Going forward or what he called?
No, going for it, where you are in that type of game. They are better than you. You're in your own territory, and you actually have a lead on this team that's won back-to-back national championships. You don't make that. You punt the ball, and yes, I understand you need to have some trick plays during the game. I get that, but not in that field position. And that's why, Frank, to your point, people are going to say his in-game coaching is not good when it's little things like that.
I don't know if I agree with you on not going for it. They weren't stopping them. Their only chance, I think, was I might have punted it, but I wasn't married to punting it. I was back and forth on that. I just hated the play. Matt Hayes says, and I love my buddy Matt Hayes. Matt's my all-time buddy. But Matt says, well, he doesn't trust his quarterback. It had nothing to do with it. He totally trusts his quarterback. If there's one thing Billy Napier's made clear, no matter how much Matt or Dennis Dodd won't admit it, he totally trusts his quarterback. He trusted him before he ever took a snap. He told us that in Nashville. So it has nothing to do with not trusting his quarterback. He knew he couldn't block him. And so, but he gets a little gadget friendly. I will tell you this. So I might have gone for it, but I would have snuck it or handed it off, and you don't make it. He doesn't have a flow, the knack of calling plays. What they were doing, the stretch play and the slants were working. But inexplicably, he goes to that gadgety double reverse thing, and it took him off schedule.
Right.
And so he just doesn't have a knack of what to call and when to call it. He's probably not good at that. In fairness, they don't look well coached. In fairness, let me be fair about this. Teams that are badly outmanned rarely look well coached. Mike Norvell's teams never looked well coached in those first 2 years. He's obviously a good coach. He was a good coach at Memphis, and you can watch him now, and that's a well-coached team. But they did not look well coached his first 2 years. They let a Jacksonville State throw one over the top at the end of the game. Remember that? So when you're not talented and the other guys got way better players, you don't look well coached because even good play calls don't work because they outrun them. The other guy outruns your play. So, but I do think that is a concern. The other thing is, and I think I wish he had someone helping him because and I don't know why this bugs. You said it best. I wish I'd said your phrase. You said every quote, every comment at every press conference doesn't have to be Socrates. I wish I know he's a regular guy because I know people that know him and they love him to death. They say he's a great neighbor. He's a fun guy. He's a regular. But so help me God, I think you would ask Billy Napier, hey, Billy, what'd you have for breakfast? And I think Billy's answer would be, well, you know what? We have a great nutrition program. We have a great dietitian. We certainly measure caloric intake. We certainly look at the analytics of it. I think we got an accountability. I think we have a responsibility. I think we have a commitment to keep our bodies in good shape. So when we look at the accountability and the responsibility and the caloric intake, sometimes the answer is bacon and eggs. You know, the answer, hey, Billy, what'd you have for breakfast? Bacon and eggs. I think someone could really help him with that. And I think that overthinking at every press conference, I mean, he goes on a 10-minute preamble before he answers any questions. And I think that overthinking is what we see in the football field too. He overthought it. He overthought that double reverse. You know what? Right now, the stretch play was working. You were kicking
Everything was working.
Yeah, right. Well, it was really two plays, a stretch play and a slant. But they were working.
Went right down and scored.
Right.
And on your second drive, 2 quick first downs and you're first and 10 at midfield.
And then he overthinks it.
And then you get cute.
The gadgety stuff, yeah. So I don't think he's a good play caller. I don't think he's a good game manager yet. But that doesn't mean he won't be. But again, you better win this week.
Yes.
Because if not, then I could see it getting away. Then I could see because here's what's happening. Whoever else has recruited Lagway and the defensive end dude, and I mean, the minute we get to 3:26 Eastern on Saturday and Arkansas has upset them 17-13, their phones are blowing up. Their DMs are blowing up. I promise you, the minute that happens, every other recruit says, is that really where you want to go? Every other recruiter, is that really where you want to go? If you want to avoid the negative recruiting, you got to win this one. Because the other ones almost look like it's okay because you're not expected to win them.
It kind of helps you that Missouri has gotten so good. LSU and Florida State, those are brand. But a lot of years there'd be shame in losing to Missouri.
Right.
Well, this is arguably the best team Missouri's had in 40 years.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly right. So we'll see. But an interesting paradigm nonetheless. It'll be interesting to see the way the whole thing plays out. We'll talk more about the Gators as we go.
By the way, Prisco told us on Friday he thinks Mertz will play in the NFL, be drafted somewhere, not early, but be drafted and play in the NFL.
Graham Mertz is a pretty good player. No matter what anybody thinks, and no matter Graham Mertz is he's not a great player. Graham Mertz is a pretty good player. He's not going to lift you to wins that aren't there. He's also not going to get you beat very often. Graham Mertz is a pretty good player that drew a little bit of a bad hand with a Wisconsin team, and he played he was so ineffective at Wisconsin that not a lot of teams really wanted him. So he has to go to a team with a kiddie core of offense and a bad offensive line. And so he drew a little bit of it would not surprise me to that point about Prisco, would not surprise me if he winds up in the NFL, drafted in the middle or late rounds, and backs up and is Chad Henne. Would not surprise me if that's what he becomes. I don't know that. I don't know if I'd bet on it.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. Maybe not.
Yeah.
But I mean, it wouldn't shock me.
And look, Pete's got a great eye for it, so that's a big compliment for Graham Mertz. But regardless, I mean, I think he's certainly a quality starter at this level.
Yeah, he's fine.
And
he's not great. He's not bad. He's fine.
And again, I think for Florida fans that can, again, if you can be patient for 4 more games and be willing to tolerate some tough Saturdays coming up in these next 4, I think you're going to be rewarded. I think because then if you go into next year, then I think your quarterback situation looks good. You've got the veteran in Graham Mertz who's got an offseason to break down everything that he did in Napier's system. And even if it's a new system, he at least has an offseason to break down everything that he did right and wrong with Wilson and the young receivers and Boardingham and the line. And it's very familiar. It'd be easy for him to have a big-time spring, and you've got DJ Lagway coming in. So you'd have the veteran in Mertz, the spectacular freshman in Lagway, or spectacular prospect in Lagway. Again, the plan, I can see the plan forming into really fine fashion, but you have to be patient, and I know that's tough.
Yeah,
but keep this in mind, Florida fans. Your job will be garbage if you fire Billy Napier.
Right.
You're not going to get anyone of significance to take this job. So you're much better off seeing if Billy Napier, with this great recruiting class coming in, can navigate a very difficult schedule next year and then have you in the playoff running consistently after that.
And by the way, to that end, if he's not the right guy, and can't win with all the good players, you'll know soon enough. Because he's close to having those players. I will say this: Georgia looks terrific. Not to this point because they always had better players than Florida has now, but early on, Kirby Smart had to find his way. We still remember the fake punt against South Carolina, I think it was. We still remember some of the decisions he made, or was it a championship game? Might have been a championship game, but he had to find his way, and part of it was letting go and letting somebody else be the coordinator.
And Georgia wasn't. I mean, there's a reason that Mark Richt went into the Georgia-Florida Hall of Fame,
right?
Because he was a great guy, and he left Georgia in a good place.
That's right.
They just needed a guy to get them from good to elite. But the program and the culture was in a pretty good place with Mark Richt.
That's right.
It was a disaster with Dan Mullen. The cupboard was bare, and players did not care.
We'll take a break. When we come back, I want to get back to the NFL. The trade deadline is a day away. What might happen, what will happen. Will the Jags get better? We'll talk about it after this.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
11 men work together for one common goal. But inevitably, there is one offensive player of the game.
He is a difference maker now.
Listen for the Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game.
That's how you finish right there.
On 1010XL.
Hey, this is Jason with Bueller Air Conditioning. Why do we love to go to that awesome grocery store where shopping is a pleasure? Why do we choose that amazing chicken sandwich where the service is fast and friendly and it's always their pleasure? You see, those brands are a promise. Here at Bueller Air, our team is committed to serving the customer and delivering that same kind of brand promise. Our mission is to be the most trusted brand with friendly and professional service every single time. Give us a call today or visit BuellerAir.com.
Hey, Jags fans. We're heading into Week 10, and this team isn't slowing down.
How good is that?
Be at Everbank Stadium as the Jaguars kick off the second half of their home schedule against the San Francisco 49ers Sunday, November 12th. We'll be celebrating homecoming with appearances from various Jaguars legends, and you won't want to miss out. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m., and tickets are going fast, so visit jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000 to secure your seat at the bank.
Men, are you suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE? The medical providers at Prime Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. 98% of men see instant results on their first office visit. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Men are even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
But that's not all. For a limited time only, call Prime Men's Medical Center now, and your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hayes Carlyon for MyBookie. Football is in full blast. So is winning season at MyBookie. It's time to get fired up and get in on the action. NFL, college ball, and a brand new cash-out system. If the first two legs of your parlay hit, you can cash out early, use the funds on another bet, or let it ride for the chance at a bigger payday. Go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to grab a welcome bonus up to $1,000. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Gators are a 6-point favorite over Arkansas in the Swamp. The Noles, a 21-point road favorite against Pitt. Georgia, a 16-point favorite over visiting Missouri. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a bonus up to $1,000. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From Roll and Lock bed covers to Lear toppers to cam locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
What's the major difference between a crocodile and an alligator? The answer next.
Lightning, storms, and hurricane winds can ruin recent home improvements. Let Southern Oak Insurance review your policy today. Visit us online at southernoakins.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
While an alligator will see you later, a crocodile will see you after a while.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
The year is almost over. Do you need cash for the holidays or want to be credit card debt-free for the new year? Call Loan Pronto today. Their Express Equity line of credit can get you $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 in as little as 5 days. Listen, if you have a ton of equity in your house and Loan Pronto can help you turn that equity into cash, you can access up to 95% of your home's value. Use the money to pay off all your credit cards, pay off personal loans, or start that home improvement project. You can get the money you need now and still keep your primary mortgage intact. So your 3% rate, it's protected. And with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line program, 90% of the time, there's no need for an appraisal. So you can get your money super fast. Get the holiday cash you need or pay off all those credit cards before the new year. Get yourself on solid financial footing before the year ends and call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Discover the difference that local expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Visit their showroom at the Avenues and browse high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
I'm RJ Saunders with your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update for 1010XL. This update brought to you by Olstein Volvo. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 6-2 on the year and are riding a 5-game winning streak. Quarterback Trevor Lawrence spoke on the squad, nabbing a win for the bye.
Feels great. And that's what, I was talking to one of the guys in the locker room is like all week leading up to it. It's like before your bye, you're just find a way to win. And that's the worst, going into a bye week losing. And then you got 2 weeks to think about it and sit around and ponder that one and get ready for the next one. But, it feels great where we're at. We also understand that we hadn't won anything yet. We're 6-2. It's a great spot to be in. We've been on a great run, but we gotta keep carrying that momentum when we come back.
Sound courtesy of Jaguars.com. 84 degrees at 4:05. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
Frank Frangie, Hayes Carline, Lauren Brooks, R.J. Saunders. R.J., how was your weekend?
It was good. How about you guys?
My weekend was great. I was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. A little dreary.
Is it weird that when I hear this song and I think of the girl that lives up the block, I imagine just a smoking hot girl?
Yeah.
I mean, she's she's a mom, she's got kids, and she's put them to bed, and they're having a few drinks.
She's split with the husband.
She's split with the husband a couple years back.
Yeah, we want to make sure she's split with the husband, okay?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, there's no
But
question.
I've always imagined this just stunning woman.
And that was the girl that, and I imagine this too. That he always kind of was interested, and never had a crack at it.
I know.
And now later in life,
he's getting it.
I'm heading down the road.
That's right.
That's exactly what it is. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
Well done with the instrumental version playing only.
Yes. What's that?
I said, well done with the instrumental version playing only.
Oh yeah. We kind of knew the song. So there's that. So RJ, did you watch the Florida Georgia game? Where'd you watch it?
I did not watch the Florida Georgia game. However, did hear a lot of tough things about Florida losing over the weekend.
All right, very good. Fair enough. Let's get to the trade deadline. Let me make this point about Danielle Hunter, okay? Can I make a point?
Sure.
I know opposing fans, Jaguar fans among them, think he's got to be available. Now that Cousins is hurt, the Vikings are going nowhere, so let's go get him. I don't think that's just a Jaguar fan thing. He's the best pass rusher in the league. He leads the league in sacks, right? So he's got 10, right?
Well, he led going into yesterday.
Yeah.
He has 8.
Okay,
I
thought he might have had to. I thought somehow. Anyway, but he's got a lot of stats. Yeah. He's a very good pass rusher. So
Yeah, he has 10 now.
I thought it was 10. So anyway, nonetheless, I don't think there's a chance in hell the Vikings move him. I know it's the end of his contract. I get that. But number one, you tell your players all year long, you work in the offseason, you go to OTAs, you go to mini camps, you do everything you can to be in to make a run at this incredibly important season. Well, now you're 4-4, you're in it. May not win it, but it's 4-4 halfway through. There's a lot of teams that have been worse than that have made a playoff run. And all of a sudden, you get the dagger of losing your quarterback. And it seems to be a close team. You saw Cousins kind of clapping for those guys afterwards. I think the last thing you're going to do to the rest of your players is go, oh, by the way, we're also going to take the best player and get rid of him so we can get a third-round draft pick. I don't think there's any way. I think the gut punch that would be to those Vikings players from the management, I don't think there's any way in hell they would do that. I don't think there's any whether they re-sign him or not, I don't think there's any way you move him for a mid-round pick when you've asked your players all year long to be committed to try and win a championship. Does that make sense? I don't think there's. I don't. We all see it from the other team view, whether it's Jags or whoever. But if you're looking at it, if I'm a Vikings fan, and I think, okay, we're a little better than we thought. We started off slow, but we've won a few now, and we got a little rhythm here. And is Justin Jefferson's coming back at some point, right? And so he's coming back
supposedly, yeah.
Yeah. So he's coming back at some point. Cousins isn't, but we're going to figure something out. We love our football around here. There's T-Wolves and Twins, but make no mistake, it's a Vikings town. All of a sudden, our best player just got shipped off for a third. I think I'd be devastated. I don't think there's any way that's going to happen.
Well, and I think you're bringing up a really good point, which is a lot of times we don't look at the other side of things when we're putting trade packages together and things like that. The Vikings, to me, strike me as a little bit like how the Angels were with Shohei Ohtani at the deadline. Like, in hindsight, they should have traded him. But how can you?
Yeah.
And it sort of feels that way with the Vikings. Not that Danielle Hunter is Shohei Ohtani, but it feels like you just can't do it. But you'll probably regret that you didn't when you get to like Christmas and you're basically out of it. So I would agree. Hunter was going to be tough anyway because I've never felt like it's going to be a superstar that they trade for because I don't think they view it as we need a superstar. I think it's viewed as we need a rotational player that can help us. So now we'll see. They've got a day to scour the phones and see if there's a player out there that that they can acquire. I mean, they've obviously got their list. They had a working list in July in terms of who might be available, depending on how the season went for some of these clubs. So the Jaguars have had a list of players that they were intrigued by. So it's not so much building that list. It's now just taking the day and taking tomorrow to just reach out to those teams and see if there's a deal to be made. But I don't think this is a blockbuster trade. I've never felt that way. I think this is a go get a rotational player that can give you some flexibility and can be good if you had to. If Josh Allen, unfortunately suffered an injury, or Trayvon Walker, somebody that could step into a bigger role, because I just don't think you have that really right now with Chase on. So I think there's a deal that should be pursued by the Jaguars, but it's a smaller deal. And again, you've got to find a team that is willing to do it. Another thing to keep in mind is, if these guys are holding on to a player that's in the final year of his deal and they think there's a chance that player is going to sign a big-time deal in the offseason, well, then they're going to get a nice comp pick. Now they're going to wait a year for it, but they get the player for this year, and then they get the comp pick in for this, it would be the 25 draft. But it's not like you just get nothing when a free agent leaves. So you also have that working against you, too, when you're trying to make a deal. So I'd say at this point, I'd say that you're looking at a rotational player. I hope they're able to work something out because I think it would really boost them. But it takes two. And will they be able to find a partner by 4 o'clock tomorrow?
I think with Danielle Hunter, the question is, where do the Vikings see themselves? Kirk Cousins is on the final year of his deal. Were they going to ride with him next year? Were they already thinking potentially rebuild if the season doesn't go well? So that's the only thing that I think, if that's what they're thinking is trying to now look to the future, then potentially they say, well, we can't necessarily pay him. But at the end of the day,
I think it's about now.
Like it was with the Angels.
Yeah, right.
The Angels
right.
had made that run right before the deadline.
That's right.
And they were like, we're in striking distance.
Right.
So we're not going to trade
we
Ohtani.
want our fans to keep coming to the games.
Yeah,
you know,
even though we
right.
could get a treasure trove for him.
Right.
And so they didn't trade him, but then they went in the tank and probably now regret the fact that, and he got hurt.
Right. And that's probably what's going to happen with the Vikings without Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, and but
I think it's absolutely what's going to happen to the Vikings.
And by the way,
but it's hard to his point.
Right.
It's hard to assume that.
To tell your players, football's hard, man. They've been gutting it out since camp.
Right, but the Titans traded Kevin Byard, and they're not throwing in the towel. The
think-
Giants probably are when they traded Leonard Williams because they're not very good.
Yeah.
But I get it. Why would you trade a good player away? Especially a really good pass rusher. When this league, that's what you need.
With all due respect to Kevin Byard, who's a good player, he doesn't change teams the way Danielle Hunter would change teams. In today's NFL now, I'm not saying he's show-a, but he's not. You know, he's so. So I may be wrong. I just don't think they're going to move him. I do think this is just like when you go get Brandon McManus. This is a year, if you're the Jags, this is the year that if you could make a deal, if you could find, because there's not a lot of pieces missing. We thought the secondary was going to be missing. Its secondary is okay. Secondary, when Tyson Campbell and Cisco get back, secondary is pretty good. If your backups are Monteric Brown and Dewey, you know what? You could do worse than that, couldn't you? And Antonio Johnson had a pick. It was a garbage at the end of the game pick, but he's a guy that's going to help the football team. So you're okay back there, I think. Pass rush is the one area you still don't have enough guys. That's the one area you still don't have enough guys, I would think. In fact, I can't think of another area, maybe one more offensive lineman, but I think you got your starters there. You know, I think I'm interested to see what they do at running back. Do they keep giving the ball to Bigsby? Or is he fumbled one time too many, and does Dearness Johnson and JaMychal Hasty become the backups? You know, you got to wonder about that at least. You know, and so, but
Leonard Fournette, by the way, is not available anymore.
He's yeah. Well, good to know. Where'd he go?
The Bills.
Did he really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. So, but no, I just don't sense that there's a lot of other needs. So we'll see. Yes or no? They signed a guy. Did they trade for a guy or no?
I think they're going to make every effort, but I don't think it's fallen the way that it could have really helped them. So I'll say probably not at this point.
I'll say yes, but it's not anybody that we've probably talked about to this point in time.
Yeah, I'll bet there's not a move. I'll predict now that there's not a move, so we'll see. By the way, the Jags haven't been in this position very often, you know. Why am I drawing a complete blank on the defensive lineman they got in 17? Marcel Darius. You know, they were in position then to do it, you know, but they haven't been in that position very often. You know, it's an unusual circumstance
To be buyers, yeah.
And to be buyers who really could get to the next level with one more purchase.
The running back thing is interesting, but I wouldn't make a trade for a running back. I would put Johnson over Bigsby for now, and just hope that maybe over the next month, you know, Tank can kind of have a Devin Lloyd month where he just sort of watches and observes, and then maybe the game slows down for him a little bit, and then maybe he can help you as you get a little closer to the end of the regular season. But Dearness Johnson's an accomplished pro. Frankly, it's, you know, I think it's time there. I mean, I think they've given Bigsby every opportunity. So I would come out of the bye with Dearness Johnson as my number 2, and because they've got to find a way to lessen the workload on ETN. And, you know, so I think you don't need to make a trade there. I would agree. I think at corner they're fine. I think offensive line they're fine. So yeah, to me it would be, can you find a rotational pass rusher? Uche of the Patriots, you know, could he be an option? You know, but they're looking for such a specific kind of pass rusher. You know, that's the other thing that complicates this, I think, because I don't know that you're looking for just any old pass rusher. I think you have a specific need for that sort of twitchy, undersized player. And so, again, they may get to the end of the meetings and basically say, what we really need to do is just develop Yasir Abdullah and start. He's now been kind of sitting out for pretty much the month of October. Can we start force-feeding some development for Abdullah and can we maybe, maybe in doing that, he'll hit the accelerator on what he can be as a player. So they may reach a conclusion where their best bet is just to develop what they have in-house.
I go back to Patrick Mahomes has a hurt ankle, and you don't sack him the rest of the game in the playoffs. Like, you've got to add someone. You lost Arden Key. You need to add someone.
I don't think anyone's in disagreement with you.
Yeah.
It's can you find a team has to also say yes, we'll make the deal.
Right. Like Yannick Ngakoue, I'll just throw him out because we talked about him so much. Like, the Bears are not going anywhere this season. He's the exact type of player that you want. I know he's been here before and there's history, but it just feels like there is a guy out there.
What did he get? Was it a one year deal?
I think it's 1 year.
10 year, about
$9
$10
million. So you'd be paying him, 5 of it probably. I mean, I'd have no problem with that if
I wouldn't either.
Chicago wanted to move him.
We'll take a break. More in a moment. 10-10 XL 92.5 FM.
John Osher stars as O in O Knows. Wednesdays from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today. Johnny O knows the Jags like nobody else. Brought to you by Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Key Buick GMC. Save up to $6,500 on new Buicks to combine big savings with a low APR to fit any budget. Like 1.9% APR financing for 36 months, 4.1% for 60 months, or 5.04% for up to 72 months. Also, right now, enjoy no payment on new Buicks until 2024. Whenever you buy a brand new Key Buick GMC, it always comes with the lifetime powertrain warranty. Across the street from Tinseltown, Southside and Gate.
Big Chief Tire has been Jacksonville's trusted tire expert for over 60 years. Frank Frangie here. The holiday season is upon us, and they are here to ensure your festive journeys are smooth and worry-free. Gear up for holiday travel by scheduling service at one of their 5 locations. From tire rotations to custom wheels and more, the experts at Big Chief are here to ensure your vehicle is holiday ready. Visit the website at bigchieftire.com or call 932-0950 to schedule an appointment today.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Brackish Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida, 100% from corn, Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly salty, a proud partner of the Jaguars. The next time you're looking for Brackish Vodka in Mandarin, look no further than Liquor Masters. Go pick up a bottle today.
He was a first-team All-SEC wide receiver.
Hit me, I'm open.
Former Gator Chris Doring joins Dan and Jeff on The Drill, Tuesday mornings on 1010XL. Brought to you by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Roland, 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 we're all calling Roland, the toilet's overflowing, oh my.
When you've got a leak and can't wait a week, call Roland Reese Plumbing, 260-7059.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
All right, Jeff, all I need you to say is, hi, I'm Jeff Lagerman, and me and everybody I played professional football with thinks Shark Coatings is the best.
I'm not going to do that.
You can't, what will you say?
Well, I mean, look, the floor is durable, it's easy to clean, it looks fantastic. It's the second time I've used it. What more do I need to say?
I mean, that works too, I guess.
Okay. Can you step off the ladder?
No one's going to know.
Trust me, they'll know. You're not as tall as I. Thanks.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, you talk a lot about a diamond's cut grade. Why is a diamond graded for cut?
Frank, that's simple. We cut grade diamonds to show a measurement of beauty and light return to the person looking at the diamond so they can understand the value difference between a diamond cut for maximum beauty and one cut for maximum weight. Now, it gets a little more complicated when you find out that the American Gem Society Laboratory actually assigns performance grades and proportion grades using patented computer software and grades for polish and symmetry using a microscope. The end result of cut grading is a final grade that can go from a 0 or ideal to a 10, which is poor. Each of these grades are priced a little differently. That's why you can see a diamond with a fine color and clarity priced low, particularly on the internet, because a trained gemologist won't buy it for resale because of the poor cut. Unfortunately, these type deals aren't good deals. They're bad deals for the unknowing customer.
Underwoods in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us, but for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks. What I do know is I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners, always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
Frank Frangie, Hayes Carline, Lauren Brooks, R.J. Saunders. So in Pittsburgh, I probably saw more Jaguar fans on the road, other than the big brigade parties. Like the brigade had the wonderful party in New Orleans. They go to Nashville a lot. But other than when there's a planned thing that Cap and those guys put together, that was probably the most I've ever seen. Could you tell it on TV at all or no?
I couldn't, but I don't remember them showing a lot of the crowd unless it was like upset people. And then I think at the very end of the game, they showed Jaguar fans.
When they were running off the field.
Wasn't yesterday the day where they showed the guy and he kind of pulled down his shirt and had the Jaguars tattoo?
Yep.
So, yeah, they did show some fans when it was clear the Jaguars were going to win the game.
And around the tunnel where the Jags went in, they were really packed because the Steelers fans had left. Could you tell that at all on TV?
We couldn't tell that on TV. Truth be told, maybe it's just me, it felt like the broadcast kept waiting for the Steelers to take control of the game. It felt like they were like, oh, come on, Steelers almost. So that's probably why they weren't showing Jaguars fans in the stands.
So Bucky Brooks and I walked around. We went to watch games. Baselli and Logman didn't get there till later. So Bucky and I said, let's try some different bars just to see what it's like. And I went to the bars near the Pirates Stadium because that's what I know. Now, the baseball and the football are very close together. They're just one street kind of connects. You've been there. One street connects the two, and the street that connects them has a lot of bars on it. But I was walking around everywhere you went, packed with Jaguar fans. CityWorks in Market Square, which is near the Permane Brothers we went to Friday, packed with Jaguar fans. Then we went down to that North Shore Tavern and Mike's Beer Bar where I always go, which is right next to the baseball park, packed with Jaguar fans. This new place, Tom's Watch Bar, which is next to McFadden's, the two big bars, packed. And I'm thinking, wow, I guess they all live in Jacksonville and came up, or they're Jaguar fans that live other places. I was shocked, pleasantly surprised. There were so many Jaguar fans around. I don't know, Hayes, that other than when there's the big brigade parties, I don't know that I've seen it like that over the years.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, this generation has waited, for a season like this. And I think they're all in, which is awesome to see. I mean, I think they're taking their disposable income and saying, we're going to go support this team on the road. And I absolutely think it helps. You can see how much appreciation the players and coaches have for it. The New Orleans, I mean, that was a absolute takeover. And, it is. I think they've always traveled pretty well, but you certainly are seeing a renewed enthusiasm because, again, you've got a player in Trevor Lawrence that is the envy of pretty much every team in the league outside of, like, maybe 4. And, you've got a team that's winning consistently. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see. We're home the next 2 games, San Fran and Tennessee. But yeah, it's gonna be fun to see if it becomes a consistent theme. If they go to Cleveland in early December, where I'm headed, then they'll have really earned a badge.
Yeah, because Houston Jaguars in Houston right around Thanksgiving. I don't know that'll be that'll feel
either.
like that. But yeah, certainly the Browns, and then I do think Christmas Eve in Tampa because of course that's very close to here. I think you will see a ton of Jaguars.
Even on
there.
Christmas Eve, you think, huh?
Absolutely.
See, I would think at Tampa on a different weekend you'd see a bunch. I would wonder if you don't see as many because the game's actually on Christmas Eve.
Right, but you can get home. Yeah, it's at 4:05. But if you had to get home for Christmas, you could.
Is it a
turn around
4:05
and get
start?
home.
I think it's
yeah.
I think
4:05.
4:05. Yeah. So
that is late. So we'll see. But anyway,
yeah, we're almost done with these 1:00 kicks for the season upcoming.
What do you think about this? So the Dolphins are 6-2, the Chiefs are 6-2, the Ravens are 6-2, the Jaguars are 6-2. Obviously, points for we haven't scored nearly as many points as those teams have.
The Chiefs has the worst loss of anyone, right?
Yeah.
Of those teams
because of the Broncos. Yeah, that's right.
Because I would say the Broncos are not as good as the Texans.
The Texans are 3-4. The Broncos are 2-5, I think. So where's this thing? Or the 3-5. So where's the AFC headed? Those 4 teams hold, I would imagine. Although the Bills have something to say. The Bills are 5-3, by the way.
Right.
So the Bills, I don't think are dead.
No.
The Bengals are coming. Is that your playoff picture?
But the Buffalo Road is ridiculously hard in terms of their schedule. They go to Cincinnati this week. That'll be an outstanding game. I believe that's the Sunday night game. I think because of the roads of resistance, I think I'd have to give the edge to the Jags, then the Chiefs, then the Ravens, and then the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the quality of teams,
right?
But in terms of just their divisional resistance.
Right.
I mean, if your toughest remaining divisional game is at Houston,
right,
you've got an edge on Baltimore, Miami, and Kansas City.
What do you think? All right, so let's assume the 4 division leaders now will go in. We got 3 more teams. Buffalo gets in. I think Buffalo's probably the best team in the conference that's not one of those 4, right?
They are, but I'm telling you, that road schedule,
Yeah,
I mean, it is brutal. At Cincinnati, at Philly, at Kansas City, at the Chargers, at Miami.
Boy, that is tough. I mean, that is really hard. So maybe they don't get in. You know what? Maybe you're right. My guess would be Dolphins, Chiefs, Ravens, Jags are in, and they hold as the division leaders. I would guess Bills, Bengals. I need another one, don't I? Bills, Bengals, Chargers?
Could be.
Would you guess if you were guessing right now?
I think
what would
those
you
are
guess?
good guesses. Yeah. As of now, by the way, it's Bills, Steelers, Browns. So
Yeah.
in theory, the Jaguars just beat a playoff
Yeah,
team.
I don't think
I don't think the Steelers are getting there.
Yeah, I don't think the Steelers are very good.
No.
I haven't watched the Browns enough, but
defensively they
They're
have
really
it.
good defense.
Yeah.
But if you don't have your quarterback,
Yeah.
I mean, eventually the hourglass is going to run dry.
Yeah, you
and,
would think,
and
right?
I think that that's going to happen. So, it's hard for me to believe that Deshaun Watson is going to get healthy and also play at a high level.
Yeah.
So I almost wonder if Cleveland's offense, but defensively they're outstanding.
And the Browns do not have an extraordinarily difficult schedule because they've, I think, got the last place schedule. So they've got teams like the Jets and the Bears, the Rams, the Cardinals, of course, because of the NFC West. But that's a fairly easy schedule.
The NFC, meanwhile, the South's a mess. Someone's got to win it, I guess. The Falcons and Saints are both 4-4. Other than that, Eagles are 5-1. I'm sorry, the Eagles are 7-1 ahead of the Cowboys who are 5-2. The Seahawks are 5-2. What a good football team they've got. And the Lions are 5-2. Where does that thing play out, Hayes? Who are we going to see in the play? Give me the 7. Give me the 7
Philly
right now.
will have home field, and
Right.
then I think you'll probably see the Lions come in as the 2, followed by I still think San Francisco will win the West.
Yeah, San Francisco's far from dead.
Yeah, and then I'll say the Saints end up winning the South, And then your wild cards are probably Seahawks. Cowboys will be the 5. Cowboys, Seahawks, and
Vikings?
Getting thin.
Yeah,
Saints?
real thin.
Getting thin for that
Saints?
7.
It's not the Rams, I don't think.
Oh, boy, that is a bad division.
Yeah.
I mean, bad conference.
Yeah.
I'll say, you know what? I'll say Washington gets in as the 7.
Okay.
They're 3 and 5, but somebody's got to be the 7. That is a really bad conference.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if the Jags, if this thing goes away, it could go and the Jags at home field? Because it could happen.
It could happen.
I mean,
yeah.
it's certainly.
And you get the bye.
Yeah, right. Well,
you're the only team.
That's right. For people that
on
don't
that
know
side that gets the bye.
For people that don't know how it works now, there's 7 teams in each conference. For the numbers to be even, only one team doesn't play the first weekend. Then it's 2 versus 7 and 3 versus 6 and 4 versus 5. So the only team that doesn't play is the top seed. That to your point, that's why that's such a big deal now, because there's only one team per conference that gets the bye. So it'll be interesting to see. Well, I'll take a break. College football playoff is going to be announced tomorrow night. Who's in, who's not, who moved, who helped themselves, who didn't. We'll talk some college football in a moment. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
There's a reason Friday is our favorite day of the work week. Bingo. Pre-game Friday.
This is your game plan.
It's your stepping stone to the weekend. Pre-game Friday.
Now we got a game.
Is brought to you by Dream Finders Homes and MyBookie on 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. When it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
When you step into a courtroom, you're stepping into a fight. Someone wins, someone loses. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we've got the experience you want in your corner if you or a loved one suffer a personal injury or a wrongful death. We're here to fight for you. So if you get hit, hit back with Hastings Injury Law, offices Jacksonville. Find us on the web at 904hitback.com or call our 24-hour helpline, 904-HITBACK.
Post-Game Monday on 1010XL is brought to you by Dandy Foods, makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff.
The shoulder is one of the body's largest joints, prone to a variety of injuries and conditions that cause pain. Dr. George Bari here, and at Bari Orthopedics, we know an active lifestyle can lead to serious joint pain. We can help with an accurate diagnosis and treatment for a full spectrum of shoulder injuries, from arthritis, bursitis, tendonitis, or rotator cuff and labral tearing. Bari Orthopedics can help. If you or a loved one suffers from shoulder pain, don't hesitate to call or log on to bariorthopedics.com.
Dan Hicken here for Bowdeny & Associates. I want to remind you that now is the perfect time to schedule your eye exam. Take advantage of your existing insurance benefits before they reset in January. Join the many satisfied patients who trust Bowdeny with their vision. Schedule your eye exam now and enjoy the peace of mind that comes with clear and healthy eyes. And remember, your deductibles reset in January, so don't miss out on the benefits you've already earned. Bowdeny & Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Men, suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE? Frustrated taking pills that don't work? Here's a message from Prime Men's Medical Center.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough treatments with men lasting longer than ever without pain or surgery.
Call now. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results right in the office. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
Folks, football season off and running, and so is truck season with the powerful Chevy Silverado. You can take on anything. Now, Nimnik Chevrolet is proud to be Northeast Florida's Silverado truck headquarters. They've got the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and the best price guarantee. Now, with thousands of dollars in discounts and incentives and nearly 200 Silverados in stock, your perfect truck is waiting for you right now at Nimnik Chevrolet. Plus, well-qualified buyers can get rates as low as 0% APR financing. That's right, 0% APR, no payments for 90 days on select Silverado 1500 pickup. You can shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com or visit the dealership conveniently located at Park and Cassett. It's football season. It's also truck season. So head to Nimnick today. That's Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. Chevy. Find new roads.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On October 30th, 2016, Oakland Raiders break the single-game record for the most penalties in an NFL game, gaining 23 over the Bucs.
Are spooky plumbing problems haunting your home this Halloween? Don't be scared. Call Duck Duck Rooter, your ghost-busting plumbing heroes.
Hi there, I'm Brian, your friendly plumber. Is your toilet making ghostly groans? Or is your sink dripping like a vampire's fangs?
Don't let plumbing problems give you the heebie-jeebies. Call Duck Duck Rooter at 904-862-6769 and chase those spooky issues away.
Duck Duck Rooter, because even plumbing nightmares deserve a happy ending. Quacktastic service guaranteed.
Visionaries, builders, and doers, are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
1010XL is a proud sponsor of Operation New Uniform's 10th Annual Heroes Gala, featuring retired Army Lieutenant Colonel and former Congressman Alan West. Saturday, December 2nd at Sawgrass Marriott. Operation New Uniform is a free, life-changing program that helped me, David Trenholm, successfully transition from a 20-year career in the United States Navy to the business world. Join 1010XL and sponsor Operation New Uniform's 10th Annual Heroes Gala today. Go to onuvets.org. That's onuvets.org today.
Budweiser reminds us to drink wiser, like hydrating between beers. It keeps the fun going longer, and it's a commitment to responsibility. Remember, good times are ahead, so no need to overdo it. Know when to say when, and always designate a driver.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Steelers wide receiver George Pickens lit a fire under the Jaguars' defense after he called them a hope defense late last week. After the victory on Sunday in Pittsburgh, Rayshon Jenkins and Andrew Wingard had some pointed comments with Mia O'Brien in the postgame.
We would have hoped, just like they would have hoped, our defense was going to come in, whatever. I don't know how they thought we were going to come in and play, but we would have hoped they would have put up a better fight than that.
He needs some advice moving forward. You never put pressure on yourself. You never put expectation on yourself, and he did that. And if hoping is getting a dub, we'll take the dub.
You can't chat before the game. You gotta go out there and really walk the walk.
You don't fire up a bunch of hungry dogs. It's not smart. So, George, do better.
I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet. Doors, please. Time now for the Skylife Elite Take Flight Moment of the Week. Skylife Elite, North Florida's premier private air charter.
How sweet it was. Trevor Lawrence to Travis Etienne down the sideline for a 56-yard touchdown pass. 5:41 to play in the third quarter to give the Jaguars a 14-point lead after Etienne's 2-point conversion run. Just right past Joey Porter Jr. And what a play. Doug said today that was obviously not where it was intended to go. It's a progression, but it's not his first progression. So he really complimented Trevor on finding Travis. That's obviously an incredibly difficult play for Travis Etienne to make. So lots of compliments to him as well. And it was funny after the game, Trevor said, we've never connected on one like that ever. I mean, I guess it makes sense because at Clemson he just handed him the ball and he ran for a touchdown.
That's right.
So they probably never needed to throw it, that deep down the field. But what a play! And the thing that I love about it now, even though it wasn't really intended to happen, it's not how they really drew it up. Doug even said, we don't really have a lot of plays where, the running back going 35 yards downfield is the primary read there. But it does give opponents now something else that they've got to worry about, which I like. And so it was fantastic play. The game was somewhat in doubt, but that one really kind of put it squarely in the Jaguars column. So I want to thank our friends at Sky Life Elite. Again, just a tremendous company, great friends. And, again, if you're tired of canceled flights, unruly passengers, layovers, consider taking a private charter. If you're going on a Jags road game, you got the holidays coming up. It's more affordable than you would think. Give them a call, 490-9332. That's 490-9332. Or you can find them flyskylife.com, and they're also available on Instagram.
We were talking about that on the trip, that people don't realize. You have a group, but if you have a group of people, how affordable it is.
Yeah.
That's the great myth about people like Sky Life Elite. They're not only good at the gig, but it's affordable.
Right.
That people don't get the fact that you can, and it's way better. No offense to the airlines, but it's better.
Yeah. I mean, you drive to Craig Airport, get out of your car, get on the plane, go directly to your destination.
Great way to do it. So,
yeah.
All right, very good. Thanks to Sky Life Elite. And that was a big-time play, too, by the way. It was the one that broke the – you knew – you had the sense that a knockout punch was coming.
But you sure kept waiting.
But you kept waiting, right. You kept waiting,
They had us on the edge of our seats multiple times.
And then when that one hit, I can remember we all kind of – the Pittsburgh booth isn't very good. It's way on the corner. You see how it's a tough look, and it was going away from us. So that was going away from us on the far sideline going the other direction. So I could – and we have a monitor that I can use, but I could kind of see he's behind those guys. There's nobody there. It wasn't like he barely was open, so he was behind those guys.
And what a layered throw.
Great throw.
Because if it's too much of a laser, it's probably a pick six.
Yep. It's a great throw.
And if you loft it too much, you might overthrow him. You don't have a lot of room to work with.
Right.
And a phenomenal catch by ETN.
Really, he is some kind of player. So all right, more Jags talk coming up about 20 minutes when Johnny O stops by. The O Show comes up in just a bit. The college football players going to be announced tomorrow night. What's the order going to be?
That's a great question. I would think Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Washington.
That's what I would think. At FSU fifth. That would be my guess. My guess is it'll be exactly what you just said. Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Washington, Florida State.
I think they put Florida State fourth and Washington
ahead of Washington. Do
yeah,
you?
I do.
What about you?
I mean, I think it'll be Washington, but it's hard to argue. I mean, I think Florida State on a neutral field beats Washington.
Do you?
But again,
if I thought that, if I was a voter, if I thought FSU would beat Washington head-to-head, then I'd put FSU ahead.
Well, I would put FSU in the top four. But in terms of projecting what I think they're going to do, I think it'll be Washington ahead of FSU. But look, I mean, that LSU win is gigantic.
Yep.
They're 13th. So, the rest of the ACC hasn't really delivered. Clemson is a debacle this year. Right. So that win doesn't really, even though at the time it looked like a massive win, and it's still a massive win, but Clemson hasn't really lived up to their end of the bargain. How many have they lost now? Four? Are they 4-4?
Yeah.
On the year? Oh. And so, and with the Pac-12 being as difficult as it is, Washington has a win over Oregon, who's arguably the best one-loss team in the country. So, yeah, I would put Florida State in the top four, but I think they'll be fifth.
I do think Florida State is. Well, Georgia's one, but next to Georgia, Florida State's the most likely to run the table. Georgia, because of how good they are, but Georgia does play. I think Georgia at Tennessee is a hell of a game. I think they'll win, but I think that's a heck of a game. That's maybe one of the toughest games any of the undefeated teams have left, other than Ohio State and Michigan having each other.
Right.
But Florida State plays at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a mess, by the way. You see what Pat Narduzzi said? Hung his players out for. He pretty much said, "You're no good."
That was almost a fireable offense.
Really,
it was so bad.
And I doubt he survives after this year.
Yeah, that was. You can't do that.
And so they play at Pitt. That will be easy. Home against Miami. I want to believe that's going to be a good game. I don't. I think Miami's got a toughness about them, but I think by the time that thing's over, it's 34-20.
Yeah.
Don't you sense that?
That's a good call. That's what I would think.
I think it's that
maybe
game.
even a little larger than that.
And then they have
but it won't be last year. Well, last year was
45-3. Yeah. And then they play at Florida at the end. And Florida's always good in the swamp. And if that game's at night, the place will be rocking. But after watching, and I watched both of them because the Noles were on first, and it was Wake Forest, but it was a road game at Wake Forest. after watching Florida State, Wake Forest, and Florida Georgia in succession on the same TV, at the same sports bar, right now I can't imagine Florida hanging with them even at home. Before the weekend, I found myself thinking they could. I don't think so. I think Florida. What's the line? 9?
I don't think it'll be that high.
You don't?
I don't. But now a lot of that depends on what Florida does between now and if Missouri
Arkansas
embarrasses
loses,
them, if LSU embarrasses them, then yeah, it could be. But
you think smaller than that? Huh?
I think probably smaller than that. But again, we've got Florida. Florida could lose to Arkansas, and then all of a sudden playing at the Swamp isn't as big a deal. And I think again the difference between it being a noon or a night is the difference of 3.5 points on the line. If that's a noon game, then the power of the Swamp is not nearly what it would be if it was a 7:00 game. So I will say this for Florida State. They answer as well as any team that I've seen this year. Right. When the opponent scores, Florida State goes right back down and gets it back. Right. And, I mean, their kick return game has become phenomenal. To add to their potency in terms of their ability to put points up on the board. So they're in a great place. I mean, but I also think, Wake Forest is, having a down year. Yeah. And I don't think they're all overly talented. Pitt's not very good. So I do think it's been a while. Duke lost pretty badly to Louisville. So I don't think Florida State is really they've played LSU, but I don't think anybody else that they've really played is any good. I mean,
Yeah, and that's not your fault. You only be who you can only be who you play.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with that. I think the ACC is way down again, like it's been over the years. And the ACC, and that doesn't mean FSU's not very good. It almost feels like the mid-90s when nobody in the ACC is any good except FSU, but FSU's really good.
Right.
That's how the 90s were.
Yeah.
From 92 on, nobody in the ACC was ever any good except for FSU, who was very good. And it feels that way, so we'll see. Oh, I haven't done.
By the way, real quick, FSU got some help with Oklahoma losing to Kansas.
Yeah, how about that?
If you're a Noles fan, you are cheering for those types of teams to get taken down. I think even Noles fans on Saturday were probably hoping that Florida beat Georgia just to get one of those top teams getting a loss.
I don't think they were hoping that. Okay, but by the way, Oregon working Utah the way they did.
Yeah.
I mean that
was impressive,
and it tells you a little something about Washington and Oregon. They're both pretty good. By the way, I haven't done the picks yet. Did you hang 2 game picker uppers, Brooke?
I sure did.
I
did not get close to 3. I had 3 on the board. I did not get anywhere close to Florida.
You weren't afraid though, so
I was not afraid.
You were 5-1 with 2 GPUs and a Moneyball.
That's right.
She got an 8-point week.
I did, and I'm now tied with you.
Yeah, she caught you.
I didn't even do this. Well, I'm glad I didn't do the numbers then.
Yeah.
So you did an 8-point week. How about that?
Right.
How about that? All right.
I am now no longer in last place, and I'm climbing closer to Hayes Carlin.
We must, because you and I pick the same every week. So we must be. So that must mean Lauren and I are both 8 points behind you. Would be my guess.
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he has 46. Both of us.
What
have
about
38.
the 8-point week for you, Brooks?
It was a good week.
How about that?
Thank you, Saints and Derek Carr, who I've long blasphemed, but I appreciate it. And the Bengals, the 49ers are going through something right now, like we talked about. Brock Purdy hasn't been playing well, so I was going with Joe Burrow.
All right, how about that? 5-1 and an 8-point week. We'll go through all the picks tomorrow and see where all of us
She's
stand.
Right.
RJ, are you in last place?
Now in last.
RJ, you in last place?
Listen, I'm firing everybody off of my staff. We suck.
Hey, you know what? He sounds like Pat Narduzzi. He's got
he does.
He's got bad players. If you got bad players, you got to get rid of them. I like it. Look, the 3 people getting rid of their players: Dion, Narduzzi, RJ.
Yeah,
they're all getting rid of their players.
I like it.
So there you go. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Johnny O joins us. The O Show is next. It's 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
The Women's Board of Wilson Children's Hospital welcomes former Duke men's basketball coach Mike Krzyzewski November 8th. For your chance to win tickets, text FORUM to the text line covered by Lifetime Flooring at 641-1010.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Are you afraid to buy your next car? Well, have no fear, because Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet offer Beaver's not-so-scary pricing. There's no monsters popping up in your rearview mirror with Beaver's peace of mind warranties. Check out thousands of vehicles for sale online and get answers to all your questions with no tricks and all the treats. I promise our team will take away all those fears. Just come see Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville for Beaver's not so scary pricing.
In America, we enjoy freedom thanks to our veterans who answered the call to defend our nation. Congressman Aaron Bean here, and I'm honored to represent more than 70,000 veterans in our nation's capital. As the son of a World War II veteran, I understand that veteran benefits are not entitlements, they're earned. Our team is ready to assist you. If you need help with the VA, call my office, 904-557-9550. I'm Congressman Aaron Bean, and serving you is what we do. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Welcome to Otterson Wealth Advisors of Raymond James, where our team is not just a team, it's a vast resource of financial knowledge, with each member bringing their unique expertise to your financial success.
Meet Caleb Cronick, financial advisor, a Naval Academy graduate, and SEMA certified pro through the University of Chicago. His strategic prowess is your asset working towards your financial goals. Ready to begin to your journey? Visit OttersonAdvisors.com. Otterson Wealth Advisors, your goals, our expertise. Raymond James Associates, Inc., member New York Stock Exchange, SIPC.
All year long you'll be singing our song. Stay cooler with Bueller. At the head of our class we make it happen fast. Stay cooler with Bueller. For heating and air we always play fair. We make the difference 'cause we really care. Bueller Air. Stay cooler with Bueller.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
This is Hayes Carline for QC Kinetics. The future of joint pain relief is here. It's QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine, amazing stuff. If you've been told that more steroids or surgery are your only options, don't be so fast. Get a second opinion and learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. You got to give them a call for a free consultation at the Mandarin or Ponte Vedra location. 274-5522, 904-274-5522. That's the number. Give them a call. Imagine living your life this fall with no more pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulders, your back. No drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Look, life is about motion, and QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with these all-natural treatments. Call them 904-274-5522. That's QC Kinetics.
So I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $30,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $80,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition and no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted into the program, your only costs are the books and the course fees, around $700 a year.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by November 2nd.
Pastor Joby Martin here with the Church of 1122. We are honored once again to partner with the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida for the Great Futures Weekend, which includes golf and Mackenzie's 5K run at the esteemed TPC Stadium course. Help us continue to honor Mackenzie Wilson's legacy. That's Friday and Saturday, November 17th and 18th. You can golf or you can run. It'll be a great time. Additional info at MackenzieRun.org. Proceeds go to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida.
Brackish Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida, 100% from corn, Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly salty, a proud partner of the Jaguars. Enjoy Brackish Vodka in your favorite cocktail with a delicious pie. Brick Oven Pizzeria.
Hey Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Now, how many times have we heard it? Lose weight without lifting a finger. It's tempting, isn't it? But deep down, we know there's no shortcut to true health. Number one rule, eating right. Now, you might consider the new medications, and yes, you'll see a difference, but will it last? The latest study from the Journal of Diabetes, Obesity, and Metabolism found that almost 90% of the participants regained at least half of their weight back. I wanted a solution, not a Band-Aid, so I put my trust in Awaken 180 weight loss, and as you all know, it's paid off great. I dropped my 25 pounds in just over a month, something I never thought I'd say about a weight loss program. It actually was easy. I haven't put a pound back on since. I finally found my solution for weight loss. You can find your solution by calling 844-346-1800. Again, 844-346-1800, or reserve your consultation online by going to awaken180weightloss.com.
I-9 Sports, the way youth sports should be, and right now inviting parents to sign up for the fall and winter seasons. Registration open at i9sports.com. Ages 3 and up. Duval, Clay, St. John's. Convenient for busy families. Enter promo code 1010 for a discount.
The year is almost over. Do you need cash for the holidays or want to be credit card debt-free for the new year? Call Loan Pronto today. Their Express Equity line of credit can get you $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 in as little as 5 days. Listen, if you have a ton of equity in your house, and Loan Pronto can help you turn that equity into cash, you can access up to 95% of your home's value. Use the money to pay off all your credit cards, pay off personal loans, or start that home improvement project. You can get the money you need now and still keep your primary mortgage intact, so your 3% rate, it's protected. And with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line program, 90% of the time, there's no need for an appraisal. So you can get your money super fast. Get the holiday cash you need or pay off all those credit cards before the new year. Get yourself on solid financial footing before the year ends and call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal Housing Lender, NLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
I'm RJ Saunders with your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update for 1010XL. Your Jacksonville Jaguars are 6-2 on the year, and a big reason for that has been the play of Travis Etienne. Doug Peterson spoke with the media today about the play of his star running back.
Yeah, I mean, you had 24 carries and six targets. You had around 30 or so yesterday. I mean, that's on the extensive part of it. But he's very capable.
Sound courtesy of Jaguars.com. Newcomer Jameer Watkins scored a team-high 18 points for the FSU men's basketball team as they defeated Flagler College 90-74 over the weekend. It's the first of 2 exhibition games for the Noles. They'll play their second exhibition game against Valdosta State on November 5th. 83 degrees at 5:01. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now it's time for the O Show with John Osher from Jaguars.com.
Johnny O's here. I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to challenge you, Johnny O. On a Monday on the First Coast. You can't tell me there's a bunch of negative emails today.
It was better today.
You can't tell me that.
It was almost disconcerting. It was,
Okay.
There's still frustration, I think, over the offense, but I do think there is a feeling of, we're 6-2, 5 straight wins, have only trailed for a few minutes during that time. I do think there's an acknowledgement of, okay, this is good. And you would hope, because it's again, I from a personal point of view, I look at this team, I think it's a much better team than it was last year, even during the 5-game winning streak at the end of the season. And I think it's set itself up exceedingly well. And I do think overall people are sensing that and maybe allowing themselves to enjoy it a little bit.
Absolutely. Defensively, 5th on third down and leading the league in takeaways by 3, and they're great against the run. If that holds, they'll be special. I mean, right?
Yeah, and I think Caldwell, when he was talking about Trayvon last week, sort of gave some insight into this. Mike Caldwell, defense coordinator, he was commenting that, Trayvon, in a way, allows them to play some of the defense the way they like to play. His second point in that was they're a team that wants to stop the run first, be dominant there, and then that then forces offenses to play ways that they're uncomfortable with in longer yardage. And that's really sort of the key to what they do. And I think the stats you just gave sort of illustrate that they're doing that well. You're almost surprised at this point on 1st and 10 if the opposing team runs, if it's not 2nd and 8.
Right.
And that's a hard thing to do in the league because most teams are set up to stop the pass, and most teams try to get 3 or 4 on 1st down and then put you in. This team stops you, and you usually feel like the other team's in a bad down and distance situation. That's how you play good defense these days.
Did they think that Darius Williams could be this good, or are they also as impressed as the rest of us going, holy cow, even without Tyson Campbell, he's playing super well?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they thought, in terms of how they thought of him. My vibe was in the offseason, though, that they had a higher confidence moving him out into that position than a lot of people did. I mean, I'll be frank, I thought he was going to be a weak link to the defense.
So did I.
And nothing against the kid. I just, based on how he played at times last year, I didn't expect this. And he's playing not just statistically well, he's playing eye test well. It's hard to throw over there.
He's been terrific, John. I thought he would be. I thought he would struggle too. He's a great kid. He's trying, but he's been fantastic.
Yeah.
And I mean, when he's on the opposite side of Tyson Campbell, who's one of the best 10 in the league, I think.
Right.
I will say this. I said this to Hayes and Lauren. I think at the halfway point, this is the old halfway point. It's 8 games in, so it's sort of the halfway point. I think the story of this season is that defense.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor's been fine. Trevor's been very good at times. Travis Etienne's one of the best backs in the league. Certainly there's storylines on offense. But the story of this football team, the story of the first half of this season, I think is the tough physical nature of this defense, the reliability of it.
Yeah.
I think that's the story of the team.
Yeah, there was a stat that Jaguars PR sent out last night. 7 of 8 games they've had the opponent under 7 points at halftime, 7 or less.
Wow.
Well, and
7 of 8.
Yeah, you can say, well, the teams scored late. But following the league closely, that usually puts you up 14, 17, 7, 13, 7. It puts you in control of the game. It means that you are controlling the pace in the second half. And it's certainly played out the last 5 games where you've led the entire second half of those games. Maybe teams got back into it, but the opponent so far this year, with the exception of Houston, is always playing uphill against this defense. Always trying to come back, always, hey, we're down 6. Now we have to do, again, things we don't want to do. This team and this defense makes opponents very uncomfortable.
Could Etienne be a superstar in this league?
Well, right now he is. I mean, he's a superstar for this team. Superstar status can take some time because people have to sort of become aware of it. But I wrote this about Josh Allen. Somebody asked me, well, why doesn't Josh Allen get the credit that T.J. Watt does? Well, because T.J. Watt has an MVP or an Defensive Player of the Year, and he plays on a team that, your standard reaction as an NFL fan is to say, well, the Steelers play good defense and they have a great outside linebacker. That's been the case for 30 years. So T.J. Watt fits that narrative, and you don't have to reteach it. I think with Josh Allen and Travis Etienne, who I would go with as the MVP of both sides of the ball, because people aren't used to talking about this team, it's still taking people time to catch up on that. But Josh Allen's a Pro Bowl linebacker, and Travis Etienne's a Pro Bowl running back. That's sort of feels like their floor right now.
Does Anton Harrison get enough credit?
Well, I mean, I think to your point, he's starting to play very, very well. As a rookie, 7 games in, and I don't know that he's had time to be disrespected yet. There were games early in the season where he didn't play that well because he was a rookie. I thought yesterday
Watt beat him a couple of times, but when you play Watt, he's going to beat you a couple of times. Play as well as could be expected, and the feeling on him is that he's still learning, but that there's now not much question that he is trending and going to be very, very good.
John, when and I'm going to ask this the right way because we've all been in this business a long time. When you cover colleges like all of us did, you were more NFL, but you started out with college like we all did. Around here,
I replaced the great Frank Frangie on the Florida beat.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. It was an immediate upgrade. John, we're used to the team being one of the good teams, and they had a swagger about them. College is different than the NFL, okay? But I'm going somewhere with this. We're used to when FSU would play Wake or Florida would play Vandy or Kentucky or whoever, the team we covered, there was just almost something about being in the media. There's something different. You covered the Colts when they were like that. Now, the NFL is a different swagger because everybody's good, but you go see where I'm going with this. It feels like they're getting to that. And I know I may be ahead of the game here. And again, the NFL swagger is different than the college swagger. The college swagger, you're not going to lose. The NFL, if you're asleep at the wheel, the 2-10 team is going to beat the 10-2 team. I know that.
Yeah.
But doesn't it feel a little bit like we're getting there? I mean, I could tell you this weekend in Pittsburgh, there was no doubt the Jags were going to win that game. I think the Steeler fans felt it. I think the Jaguar fans there felt it.
Yeah.
Is there some of that maybe?
Yeah. And it almost feels, and people listening, I'm sure there will be those who don't buy this, but it feels different. They had swagger in 17, this team. But in retrospect, it almost feels like the 17 team, every week it won, it kept having to tell people, we're great, we're great, we're great, we're great.
Agree. And by the way, those 17 guys wanted to tell you. This team just goes out and plays.
And this team's swagger is more, all right, pay attention to us if you want, but we're good.
That's exactly right. I think that's 100% right.
And so I think this is less, again, I love covering 17 team, great memories. We all have those. But that one felt like you didn't know what you were getting each week sometimes. It started 3-3, and then even at the end, big win, lose to Frisco. This team, what is so encouraging about it is you sort of know what it is. They're going to get a lead. They're going to play well early. Maybe not explode, but get a lead, keep on sort of adding, playing smart. Defense is going to keep getting you plays and then figure out a way to win it at the end. It just feels more sustainable and less of a roller coaster. And I could be sort of playing in my own narrative there, but that's sort of what it feels like.
There's some truth to that. But, Hayes, you get that same feeling I asked John, that there's that now the word around the league kind of is, not that anyone has to verbalize it, but that when you play this bunch, you better pack a lunch. Don't you get that sense that that's kind of happened?
I think so because of how dominant they are on the defensive front.
Yeah, physical teams.
If you can stop the run, if you're fourth against the run, then I think it becomes, we better be ready. And offensively,
and it sort of felt like Tomlin saw that coming last week. He praised Trayvon and Josh, but it felt like he was talking about the whole front seven of, these guys are hard to do things against. Hayes, sorry.
Yeah, no, and then offensively, I think just the diversification of the offense and how many ways they can hurt you.
Yeah.
It's not particularly physical, but it's just you don't normally see so much skill, in terms of Ridley and Kirk and Ingram and ETN and the quarterback. I mean, that's a lot to handle.
Yeah, and as much as the storyline now offensively has to be what it is, which is how can they stop sort of shooting themselves in the foot or get the ball in the end zone, capitalize on these opportunities. But even when they've struggled, there are moments, I'm going back to yesterday, they didn't get the ball in the end zone enough, but they converted a lot of big third downs, stayed on the field. Ingram in the second half converting third downs. Ridley making a couple of plays early to get them points. The pass to ETN, the pass to Kirk last week, they make those big plays to where it doesn't feel anemic or stagnant. It just feels like it's close and they're not quite there.
I tell you this, I don't know how people grade out. I don't know how Cam Robinson graded, but I can tell you
Played
this.
really well.
I called it Alex Highsmith's name one time. Did you know that? I mean, what I do know is how often I call a guy's name.
Right.
And I called Alex Highsmith's name one time.
Yeah. And
he was lined up. He lines up on the right side in case you're wondering. So.
That's why you go back to always be careful when you're talking about getting rid of good football players.
That's so true. That is so. I mean, I'm telling you, Hayes, Alex Highsmith, who's a good player, was invisible. I mean, Watt showed up a couple times on Harrison. Highsmith never did. All right, we'll take a break. We can come back on this final segment with John. John, I'm going to go through every position. I want you to tell me who's good, who's not, who's been disappointing, who's played above their skis a little bit. We'll do sort of a midseason report with Johnny O after this.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
Injuries are the Achilles heel of championship football.
That is not a good sign as the medical staff coming out.
Listen for the personal injury attorneys Farah and Farah Injury Update on 1010XL, the official personal injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jacksonville.
Did you know the new 2023 Honda Accord Hybrid has an onboard system that charges the battery so you never have to plug it in? When you think Honda, you think quality, value, safety. Now think hybrid. Visit your local Honda dealer and experience the car of tomorrow today.
W's and L's are what it's all about in football season, and you know you want to be a winner. Well, don't forget about calling Florida Home AC at 777-4300 before all your friends come over and that AC or heating unit conks out. You'll have that L on your forehead, and that sticks. Make sure your AC can handle the heat and invite the gang over for a win. Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, with prompt and quick service to make sure you stay cool in the heat and warm in the winter.
All right, Jeff, all I need you to say is, hi, I'm Jeff Lagerman, and me and everybody I played professional football with thinks Shark Coatings is the best.
I'm not going to do that.
You can't. What will you say?
Well, I mean, look, the floor is durable. It's easy to clean. It looks fantastic. It's the second time I've used it. What more do I need to say?
I mean, that works too, I guess.
Okay. Can you step off the ladder?
No one's going to know.
Trust me, they'll know. You're not as tall as I. Thanks.
David Garrard here. Once again, Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has eased my knee pain with PRP treatment. PRP is a platelet-rich plasma concentrate that promotes tissue repair naturally. If you are dealing with pain or an injury, ask your doctor or Southeast Orthopedic Specialist about PRP to determine if it's right for you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Discover, this is Daniela.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great, but with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Do you like asparagus and mushroom sorbet? I've got leftovers.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashbackdebit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
Mia O'Brien.
Fun-loving girl.
Weekdays on XL Prime Time.
Likes to laugh. Lives to love. No dull moments tolerated.
Mia's quick hits are driven by Arlington Toyota on the video and social channels of 1010XL.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From Roll and Lock bed covers to Lear toppers to cam locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Now, how many times have we heard it? Lose weight without lifting a finger. It's tempting, isn't it? But deep down, we know there's no shortcut to true health. Number one rule, eating right. Now, you might consider the new medications, and yes, you'll see a difference, but will it last? The latest study from the Journal of Diabetes, Obesity, and Metabolism found that almost 90% of the participants regained at least half of their weight back. I wanted a solution, not a Band-Aid. So I put my trust in Awaken 180 Weight Loss. And as you all know, it's paid off great. I dropped my 25 pounds in just over a month, something I never thought I'd say about a weight loss program. It actually was easy. I haven't put a pound back on since. I finally found my solution for weight loss. You can find your solution by calling 844-346-1800. Again, 844-346-1800, or reserve your consultation online by going to awaken180weightloss.com.
At ABBQ, they are turning up the heat this football season like no other. Picture this, 15 massive TVs strategically placed throughout the restaurant so you won't miss a single touchdown. Step into their huge outdoor area where the excitement of the game meets the fresh air. Here's the kicker, and this is a big one for me. They got the sound on blast throughout the restaurant for the whole game. Your destination for mouth-watering barbecue and an unforgettable game day. ABBQ, meet and drink with us.
Make sure your home is protected this hurricane season by scheduling a complimentary roof inspection with Universal Roof and Contracting. Right now, get 15% off your roof replacement and repairs, plus 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires October 31st and restrictions apply. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 1330747, CVC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. 1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
Frank Frangie, Hayes Carline, Lauren Brooks, R.J. Saunders. R.J., why aren't you bopping your head to that music? Why? I mean, you got to be bopped to that, don't you? Okay, I mean, he's not bopping, not head bopping in there. He said, yes, I am. And by the way, you know what? I just caught him when he was away from the mic, so he couldn't respond. R.J., I get you where you couldn't respond there? Is that what happened there?
Yeah, we got Big John over here running the board, training him a little bit. But I love the Ramones. This is how myself and John Osher bonded, because I played Ramones one time for him, and he said, this is one of my favorite bands. So now every time John Osher comes on the show, I play the Ramones.
RJ's
Unlike Frank, I can go deep track.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not a deep track guy. I'm not. No. Well, with the Ramones, I'm not even a pop guy either. I don't even know their hits. So there's that.
Didn't have many, but they were all good.
John, let's go through the season. First of all, big picture. Who's been better than you thought they would be, whether it's position group, player, whatever? Who struggled more than you thought they would? Same thing. Let's start with that.
Yeah, I think Darius, who we talked about, Devin Lloyd has been much, much better. Trying to think overall.
Those two, I totally agree on those two.
Yeah, ETN's been better than I thought. I knew he'd be good. I admit I sort of overlooked him entering the season. I knew he'd be better. Doug really thought he'd be a smarter runner and a better runner. So I kind of thought that we'd see that. I didn't think we'd see the complete. I mean, he is packaged being a better, smarter runner with losing none of the explosiveness. He's done an impressive job, I think, Travis has, of a really talented kid last year, and he's turned into a professional running back. Really knows how to get the most out of everything. So I would say those three stand out. Struggling, the interior offensive line, obviously the run blocking in the middle in big situations is something that hasn't really bit him yet in terms of a loss, but it's hurt them at times. Even as far as improved, I don't know if Josh Allen's improved, but the effectiveness of those big moments has been striking. I mean, it's and then Dewey. What do you want?
What about you? Hey, same question. What's been better than you thought? What's been not quite there yet?
I would say I agree with everything John said. I would say McManus has been fantastic. I mean, from a confidence standpoint, that's a hard stadium to kick in yesterday.
Well, if you look at both, I happened to sit in the back of the plane near the special teams guys, and Logan Cook and McManus, I don't know how to gauge what their record would be without those guys. But in terms of reliability, Logan Cook, you assume when he punts that the other team's going to be inside their own 20, almost no matter where you are in the field, and you forget about it.
John, I've said it on our game broadcast. I've said it on this show. If you take the three positions, kicker, punter, return guy, McManus, Logan Cook, and Jamal Agnew, if those are your three, I can't imagine there's a better three in the league. And by the way, everybody has a good kicker. I get it.
Sure.
But I can't imagine there's a better three.
Well, and yesterday, to Hayes' point, the wind wasn't awful there yesterday. So it wasn't shocking that McManus hit the 250-yarders going in. But to make him look that easy, that routine, to hit 4 of 4 in that field, with it being as wet as it was, my sense is he probably made it look easier than it was.
Yeah. What about you? What surprised you? What's better? What's worse?
Yeah, I agree. Like Kay said, with a lot of what John said, I think Trevor Lawrence goes in both of those categories. He's been really, really good at times. He's made some incredible decisions, and then we've also seen him make some mistakes. I thought yesterday he should have gotten rid of the ball a little bit faster at times when he can see the Steelers linemen coming at him or outside linebackers. But I would say overall it's the defense, like what we talked about earlier. I never thought they'd be this good.
John, how's Trevor playing?
I think he's playing well. I mean, obviously yesterday was a red zone brain fade, but when he did that, and last night I was thinking about it, I was trying to think, okay, am I just forgetting other times he's done that this year? It doesn't seem like he's had very many of those.
Yeah, I agree.
That he hasn't.
Nobody's perfect. I mean, you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah, but I don't feel like he's had the explosive downfield plays that people want. But my overall impression, again, I haven't gone back and really looked at each game to quantify what I'm saying, but it seems like against New Orleans he ran really smart. He seems like he's making smarter decisions more consistently. He just seems like a smarter player overall than he was last year, which stands to reason. You're in your third year, not your second. And I guess when I see that, I sort of trust that the ability is going to sort of come through in that, and that he's going to hit a stride where he's just going. I think one thing they clearly miss, maybe the most underappreciated story, is the absence of Zay Jones.
Yeah.
That it feels like him in the red zone not being there, that has made Ridley's life much more difficult. I mean, and Ridley's special, so, okay, it's going to be difficult,
But that's
Calvin.
a good read. I totally agree with
But
that.
I think if they could get that back, you would have it feel that the word Bucky Brooks uses all the time is organic. The offense would feel much more organic if you had Zay in there, because it would be less difficult for the defenses to make it clunky by taking Calvin away.
That's the thing is, I think as we look to the second half, I expect Trevor's explosiveness to really increase. Right now he's at 9 touchdown passes. I mean, that's, tied for 16th. He's behind guys like Sam Howell and Justin Fields and Baker Mayfield, and Mac Jones has as many as he has. Burrow has more, and he had to deal with the calf for the first few games of the season. So the touchdown numbers aren't there yet, but I think by the time we get to the end of this thing, he's
Right.
going to be in the top 8. So I think that surge is coming. I just don't think they've hit it yet. And again, it's why I think it's so encouraging that they're 6-2,
Mhm.
and your franchise quarterback has thrown 9 touchdown passes.
Yeah, and I think what's, all the criticism last week where he was responding to, I guess it was Richard Sherman, it's hard when you're a national analyst to watch every game. We don't watch every game of other teams. We watch this team. I don't think people who criticize him nationally see the big moment plays that he's had.
Right.
You don't realize that the huge pass to Christian Kirk that won the game, big time pass to Travis Etienne at the big moments, and then once they're getting leads, they take the ball out of his hand. They're not asking him to be an explosive guy right now. I'm not saying he's Tom Brady, but there's a lot of years where Tom Brady was a game manager for 3 weeks, and then he'd have a 375-yard game when they needed it. It strikes you Trevor's playing a little bit like that. He's playing smart when they need it, and then making the big play when they need it. So there's still not that many quarterbacks I'd take over him right now.
Do you think the Jaguars make a trade by tomorrow at 4 p.m.?
I'd be surprised. I think they'll look at it, but I think I guess Doug said it best today. You're not going to force it. I think I'm paraphrasing, but you're not looking for it. If something happens where it clearly makes sense, but I think they look at their pass rush, and that's what everybody's talking about. I think they see a pass rush that makes quarterbacks uncomfortable, rush as well as a team, and you're leading the league in takeaways, and you're, to me, one of the better performing defenses. I don't know that they feel like they're desperate to add things the way some fans feel.
You know, one thing about that, and back to the other question we talked about, who's really surprised us in a positive way, the amount of guys, in my opinion, that are playing better than I expected them to play.
Mm-hmm.
Andre Cisco, Darius Williams, Devin Lloyd, Firmino, Foley Fatakasi, who was just okay last year, Travis Etienne, Anton Harrison.
Yeah, not to steal his thunder, but talking to Logs today, he thinks Fatakasi might be the key to the whole thing up front.
Yeah, is that
just
right?
in terms of, and I'm paraphrasing what Jeff said, and he'll talk about it more tomorrow, but he has been very hard to move. So now all of a sudden you've got three guys, Roy Robinson, Harris, Devon Hamilton. How do you run on the interior? They haven't been stout like that in a long time.
That's right. But there have been 7, 8 guys who were better than I thought they would. And not that I knew, but we always have our expectations. There have been 7 or 8 guys. I mean, Darius, Cisco, Lloyd, Fatakasi, Anton Harrison, Travis Etienne, because of how good he's been, that have been better than I expected. I mean, I expected Trevor and Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram to still be good. I expected Tyson Campbell to be good. But there's a lot of guys that are better. I expected Foye Aluakon to be good.
Right.
But there's a lot of guys that have been way better than I expected them to be, and that's how you go 6-2.
Yeah, and I think with Darius and Fatakasi and
Cisco,
at the end of last season was playing pretty well. Lloyd, you're talking about guys making huge jumps where not just playing well, but being a reason why a team's good. And I think there's a difference, like a playmaker type guy. And they've got, as you said, 5 or 6 guys on defense who are playing that way, maybe more.
Final thing, we'll get out of here. I thought the coach won a Super Bowl, and the coach won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles outdueling Belichick and Brady. That happened. We didn't make that up, and there is something special about this head football coach. There, because it's so much more than what play did you call. It's running, and I told him this after London. What he has to manage in London, all the people you took over there and going to one location and practicing and staying and winning a game at one field and then going to another hotel and another practice location and having to beat a really good team at a second field and then to come back and play a rival, then the short week. There's so much stuff. It's not just showing up and calling plays.
Right.
I think what he's created, the environment, the culture, the developing of the football team, is one of the most magnificent things I've seen in the business.
Yeah, fans get mad at me because one of my lines in the Ozone is it's always coaching in the NFL. Yeah. Because after a game, people want to criticize play calling, et cetera. And then I'll say, look, coaching matters. Play calling matters. What really matters for a head coach, and to me it's why Doug's a great head coach, is players believe in him.
100%.
And he gets what's important. He gets what's not. He gets how to steer the ship through the seas, if you will. That's everything. And that's what he's exceptional at. I guess he's a really good play caller.
Right.
I don't know enough about it to be able to judge that. I do know he can guide a team and lead people.
Yeah,
and that, to me, is so much more important.
Remember what he said last year. He said the most important thing he did when he got here was to earn their trust.
Yeah.
First thing he said. Well before you called the first play or picked the first starter or cut the first guy from training camp, is earn their trust. And I will tell you, he had to deprogram some inaccuracies that, hey, this isn't how we do it.
Right.
This isn't how we do it. I tell stories that I wouldn't because he told me privately, but the bottom line is that he had some guys that were scarred a little bit from the one year it didn't go so well. That's just reality.
I sure was.
Yeah. Johnny O, the O Show. Johnny, thanks, man. Hey, enjoy your week. You got a week off? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Take a week off,
a few
John.
days. Porch Fest in Springfield Saturday. Looking forward to it.
How about that? So you got that going for you.
I do.
John, thanks, buddy.
See you guys. Lauren.
Lauren wraps the program with news and notes after this.
The Frangie Show, live from the Hastings Injury Law Firm Studios on 1010XL. Hit back with Hastings.
This is Brent Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The NASCAR Cup Series is down to their final 4 championship contenders for the title after Sunday's Xfinity 500 at Martinsville, which was won by Ryan Blaney. He joins Kyle Larson, William Byron, and Christopher Bell with a chance for the NASCAR championship. Larson is the only driver of the 4 to have previously won a NASCAR title, and he is the betting favorite to take home this year's championship at plus 150. Byron led all drivers with victories this season. He is at plus 250. Blaney also at 250, and Christopher Bell is at plus 300. This update brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010 XL.
Do you feel a ghastly presence in your septic tank this Halloween? A septic emergency is spookier than a haunted house. But fear not. Duck Duck Rooter is here to rescue you from the depths of septic despair.
I'm Vlad, the Valiant Septic Tech, ready to cast out the demons from your septic system. If your toilet's acting possessed or your pipes are stirring up a witch's brew, we got the magic wand to fix it all.
Call Duck Duck Rooter at 904-862-6769 to schedule your septic tank pumping today.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnick Buick GMC is proud to be the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. They are committed to providing the best selection of Buicks and GMCs with the best price guarantee. Some dealers charge more than sticker, but not Nimnick Buick GMC. They never charge above MSRP. Nimnick's open on Saturdays from 9 to 7, Sundays 11 to 5. So stop by Nimnick on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner and guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
Hey guys, this is David Garrard, and I want to tell you about Clearwater Irrigation. They put my new sprinkler system in my new home at Jack's Beach, and I couldn't be happier. Oh, hey John.
What's up, Dave? You know what this means. You're going to have to sing.
Man, I can't sing.
Then you'll fit right in, buddy. Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers. Hit it, Dave.
And drainage too.
ClearwaterJacks.com.
Class action lawsuit forming if you tore your ACL while wearing cleats on grass or artificial turf. You may be entitled to a large financial compensation. Call 1-800-399-1111. That's 1-800-399-1111.
Hey Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
A big win for the Florida Gators.
Get inside the Gators with the Florida Gator Report.
I'm Taylor Dahl, and I'm your Gator Updater. Listen for the Gator Report several times a week on 1010XL.
Brought to you by Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts.
Men, are you suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE? The medical providers at Prime Men's Medical Center offer breakthrough treatments that eliminate problems in the bedroom without pain or surgery. 98% of men see instant results on their first office visit. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Men are even lasting 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
But that's not all. For a limited time only, call Prime Men's Medical Center now, and your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. You'll see instant results right in the office. You'll even get a gift that enhances your performance in the bedroom. All this, worth hundreds of dollars, is free if you call now. 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it.
they do it, whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial, we're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-one-fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Whether you are looking for a job or an employer trying to hire, there's only one stop in Jacksonville, Remedy Staffing. Labor trends keep us guessing. As employers, the job market's been strong. So what does that mean for workers' availability? If you're interested in the workforce solutions or how the Remedy team can help you, call or text Crystal at 904-329-9802. 329-9802, Remedy Staffing.
This is Dr. James Perry, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
The Jaguars are 6-2 going into the bye week. Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson was asked today how he will handle the players going into the bye.
I got to trust them, honestly. But they're going to do the right thing. They know it. They understand what they've done and where they are and how much work they've put in. And so, you just trust them. You trust them to do the right thing, and they'll come back in a good frame of mind, and they're excited, as they should be. They've put themselves in this position, so it's something that we can continue to build on.
Doug Peterson today, courtesy of Jaguars.com. The Jags will enjoy the bye week before hosting the San Francisco 49ers on November 12th. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
What's going on in the world? It's time for Frangie Show News and Notes. Here's Lauren Brooks.
We've talked a ton of Jaguars today. There's a reason for that. The Jaguars have won 5 straight. Thanks to ESPN's Mike DiRocco for this stat. The Jaguars have tied the franchise record of 7 straight regular season road wins. Prior to this streak, the Jaguars had lost 21 of 22 road games. Not only has Doug Peterson come in and turned the culture around, Frank, he has turned really every streak, it seems like, that this franchise had around.
Yeah, look, he's a really good coach. Again, if you look at the good breaks and bad breaks you've had as a Jaguars franchise over the many, many years, the fact that when the Urban Meyer thing became a disaster, Doug Peterson was available. And it's not like miraculously, it's not like teams were knocking his door down to get him. If in retrospect, how in the world that happened, that he was available, and number one, how dumb it was for Philadelphia to run him off. But in fairness, they've rebuilt to where they have a pretty good franchise. Nick Sirianni's done a good job, and they're good. But the fact that there's all these there were open jobs, and nobody was beating the Bears, and who else was open? I'm trying to remember all the
Vikings?
The Vikings were open, and the Bears were open, and there were 4 or 5, and nobody was beating, at least unless we don't know. I don't know.
No, it looked like if the Jags didn't hire him, Peterson wasn't going to get a job.
He wasn't getting hired that year, and I'm thinking, what in the world? What a great break that was that he was available for Jacksonville.
Yeah, it's in 5 years, it might arguably be the biggest break that they've ever caught. And he's done obviously a remarkable job. And look, he had a great candidacy for Coach of the Year last year, didn't get it. It'd be hard to argue that there's been anybody that's been light years better this year than what Doug Peterson's done. So long way to go, but maybe he gets Coach of the Year this year.
Maybe he does. I'm with you. I think he deserves it. All right, so Will Levis got his first start for the Titans yesterday. He went 19 of 29 for 238 yards and 4 touchdowns, 3 of those to DeAndre Hopkins. Now D-Hop has caught the first career NFL touchdown pass from 4 different quarterbacks.
Yeah. Levis looked good, and I'll give my friend Pete Prisco credit. He liked him all along. I never did. I never thought Levis was going to be a very good pro, and it's only been one game. But he'll get a little better test this week because he does play what will now be an angry Steelers defense in Acrisure Stadium on Thursday night in a short week. So, again, I don't think the Steelers are all that, period. But I do think they're pretty good on defense, and so we'll get a better idea what Will Levis has in a few days.
This is an incredible scheduling quirk because the Titans play at Pittsburgh Thursday, then at Tampa Bay the following week, then at the Jaguars. So they're getting ready to play 3 straight roadies. They've already had their bye. Wow. And so from a Jaguars perspective, I think it sets up really well for you because you'll have 3 full games of Levis tape before you see him. Obviously, the arm talent really showed up yesterday. I mean, he made several big-time explosive throws down the field. So, I mean, that all looks sensational. But it'll help Mike Caldwell and Doug Peterson when assuming they see Levis. But you have to think Mike Vrabel there's no way you can go back to Ryan Tannehill, even when he's healthy, if this is even a sliver of what you're going to get from the rookie second rounder. But I do like the fact that not only will it be Tennessee's 3rd straight road game, which is unheard of in the NFL, but it also gives you enough time to sort of figure out what Levis does well and what he doesn't. So I would expect they'll have a good plan.
Hayes, how on earth did the Panthers beat the Texans?
It's NFL, and again, we talked about it last week. The Panthers had a bye, and winless teams that go into a bye, we saw it here in 2013 with Gus Bradley and the Jaguars. Winless teams that go into a bye with a positive head coach, which Frank Reich is, they tend to come out afterwards and play really good football. And I don't know if you'd qualify that as really good football, but they won the game 15-13 with a walk-off field goal. That is a really devastating loss for Houston because you're trying to obviously keep up with the Jaguars, and now you're at a point where you're 2.5 back. Even if you get the win in Houston to get the season sweep, the tiebreaker may not come into play because you have to gain even more ground beyond just that game. So that was a really debilitating loss for Houston, and I think it speaks to while Houston's probably better than what we thought, they're probably going 500 the rest of the way, somewhere in there. They're probably not going to go 8-2 over their final 10, which is what they would really need to do to put a lot of pressure on the Jaguars, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we all celebrated that Panthers victory, that's for sure. We've got Raiders-Lions tonight. I'm assuming that the Lions will get back on track, but it is the NFL, so you certainly never know. We did talk about this briefly. Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles in yesterday's win over the Packers, so we'll see what the Vikings do. Frank, switching to college football, I got this stat from Irish O'Fell. Trey Benson is the only player in the country who has 2 plays from scrimmage of over 80 yards this season. The 80-yard reception for a touchdown against Wake this past weekend, and then an 85-yard run for a touchdown versus Virginia Tech.
Yeah, they have weapons, man. Both those running backs are good. Both those receivers, Coleman and Wilson, are good. They're both tight ends are good. And obviously they got Jordan Travis. You know what? They might win the national title.
Oh, sure.
I mean, they might beat them all. Now, they've leaked some oil. And to Hayes' point earlier, Hayes, you were right. It's going to hurt them a little bit that they weren't a little more tested when they get some of the better teams. But again, I'll give Mike Norvell credit. He took a broken program, looked like he was going to be on the hot seat because, again, he looked like a broken coach until he got his players in there. He still was not winning the recruiting battle, so he had to do it with portal players and with getting his players to come back. It's pretty amazing what they've created. It really is.
Absolutely, and it's going to be fun to watch them down the stretch. They go to Pitt. They're a 3-touchdown favorite. I wouldn't anticipate them having any issues, but Pitt's it's one of those games that it can be tricky. You don't know about weather. Pitt's going to probably have this, come together week because things have gotten so bad. So, again, I think FSU will cruise, but it is a game where because of it being on the road against a team that does play with some physicality, Florida State's going to have to be ready. But certainly the bigger tests are coming with Miami and Florida in the Swamp.
Although you just mentioned weather, not once today during our program did we talk about the fact that it was raining during some of the game yesterday. That certainly caused an issue for both teams, but never once talked about it.
No, and I will tell you again. I sound like an excuse guy, but I think it affected. What it does is it affects guys who aren't used to catching the football. Trey Herndon had one in the breadbasket that is a walk-in pick six. Darius Williams, who's been very good at picking off balls, had one that he high-pointed, had it in both hands.
Christian Kirk dropped the pass.
Kirk dropped one. It was a hair behind him, but you got to catch that. So, yeah, I think the rain, if anything, hurt the Jags more than it did the Steelers.
Yeah, I think so, too. And finally, Frank, when it comes to baseball, we've got Game 3 of the World Series. Rangers won 6-5 Friday night. Diamondbacks won 9-1 Saturday night. And we've got Max Scherzer on the mound where he debuted in his career 15 years ago, and he goes up against a guy who I think you pronounce his last name as Fat.
Yeah.
P-F-A-A-D-T.
Poff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looks like Fat to me.
Yeah, by the way, he went to Bellarmine. Do you know that?
Oh, no, I didn't know that. Okay.
Went to he's a Beller. He went from Louisville originally and pitched for Bellarmine against the great Max Scherzer. I will say this. I don't know the players, but it's become a good series because Seager hits the home run the first game. They're beat.
Mm-hmm.
And then they win then the guy that hits all the home runs hit the home run.
Garcia
hit the home run to the Oppo to win it. And then the D-backs come back and beat the hell out of it. It's again, the ratings are going to be awful. Nobody knows nobody, me included, knows the players, but it's going to be good baseball. I'll say that.
I mean, Scherzer tonight, again, you don't have a great NFL game. Maybe there will be some people tuning in. But anyway, by the way, know this name when it comes to college basketball, Cooper Flagg.
Mm-hmm.
Nation's #1 recruit. He committed to Duke. No surprise there. He's 6'8" at 16 years old. He's been compared to Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, he's supposed to be a great player. And Duke's in good shape. We're going to have Mike Krzyzewski, the great Mike, maybe the greatest coach of our lifetime in any sport. I think will join us on the program on Wednesday.
Very nice.
Yeah, so
I know he's speaking as a part of the Florida Forum.
He's speaking in a week. And so I think we're going to have him on the air on. I think I'm going to record the interview on Wednesday, so he'll be joining us on Wednesday's show.
Love that. All right, time now for today's takeaways.
Now, today's takeaways brought to you by Key Buick GMC, where our family dealership has been helping families buy vehicles for over 50 years.
My takeaway is that the Steelers are a bunch of clowns. George Pickens is a clown with his Hope defense crap. Deontay Johnson is a complete clown for suggesting that somehow the fix is in and the league wants the Jaguars to win these games. I thought an embarrassing week for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were lucky they didn't get blown out of their stadium yesterday by the Jaguars.
I couldn't agree more. I will say the fact that the Jaguars have the NFL's longest winning streak. Again, after that loss to the Texans at Everbank Stadium, none of us, I think, would have predicted the Jaguars would go on to win 5 straight. And look, the next time the Jaguars take the field, they're going up against the 49ers, who are certainly leaking oil. It should be a great game. But if Brock Purdy continues to throw interceptions, the Jaguars can increase that streak to 6 games and certainly take down one of the best NFC teams that there is. So it's going to be a lot of fun finally having the Jaguars back at Everbank Stadium. It feels like it's been a while.
And I tell you what, 3 of the next 4 are at home. One of those is against San Francisco. That'll be fun. One of those is a Monday nighter against Cincinnati. Going to be really fun. And then 2 weeks later, a Sunday nighter at home against the Ravens. It's going to be a fun second half of the season, man. I mean, there's some fun. You talk about some fun. Now, some challenging games.
Right.
But some fun games. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, 5 wins in 5 different stadiums. We were just talking about Doug Peterson and the job that he's done. I mean, it is incredible. And look, like in theory, the Jaguars gave the Steelers some bulletin board material, at least according to, like Hayes said, the crazy Steeler people.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's going to be we've waited a long time for this season. You know, we've waited a long time for it to feel like this one feels. I mean, it's been a long time since you've got one of the better teams in the league. They're not without flaws.
Sure.
But they're one of the better teams in the league, and I don't see that. I don't see our opinion on that changing as we get in the second half of the season. Let's say hello to Rick below.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet, keeping 1010XL on track with wholesale prices and premium service. Tire Outlet, Jacksonville's largest locally owned automotive repair shop.
Well, it's a good time to be a Jaguar fan.
Oh, I guess.
I mean, they have a really good team. I mean, that's not exactly breaking news, but I mean, it's beat into our heads more and more each week, isn't it?
Well, and it's not like they go out and play the perfect game. They still make mistakes, but they're so good that they can they can overcome it. I mean, how do you get 2 first-half red zone turnovers?
Right.
And you're up 9-3
That's
at
right.
half. It's almost unheard of. And, by the way, that's a great signing. I thought they handled the kicking situation around here over the last 3 years about as poorly as any organization ever has.
Right.
But going out and getting Brandon McManus, what a weapon. The guy's got a Super Bowl ring. He gives you a 51 and a 50, and I think it was a 38-yarder in the first half. I mean, that's money.
Yeah, I think Brandon McManus, Logan Cook, and Jamal Agnew, that's as good a trio as there is in the league. I believe
And they got great gunners. Unfortunately, Thomas went out. You know, him and Claybrooks were the gunners, as you know, and Claybrooks has been out all year. But, special teams are, very important, and that is absolutely worked for the Jaguars 8 games in.
Before you tell me what's coming up, let me ask you this. We talked about the kind of half. It's sort of the half of the season. It's like it's the old halfway point. I think the story of this season has been the defense. I think the story, because I didn't see it coming. I think it's one of the tougher, more physical defenses in the league. I think the defense has everything to do with them being 6-2, and so does Trevor and Travis Etienne. I'm not saying. I think the story of the season for me has been the Jaguars' defense. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, you can make that case. Absolutely. I mean, they allowed only 1 offensive touchdown again yesterday. Granted, it's a very poor offense in Pittsburgh, and I think everyone deserves recognition. But the one thing that I would go with, and I'm actually going to talk about this a little bit tonight, is being. And I was sitting next to Hayes when it happened, listening to Doug Peterson after they got blown out here by Houston. Yeah. It was scary. It looked odd. For the first time, he opened his mouth and nothing came out. What an unbelievable coaching job by this franchise to win 5 in a row from that moment where that was really in doubt. He's like, we got to get out of here. Like, this is a tough town or whatever. And they went to London and won both those games. So I got to give a ton of coaching credit, that entire staff, the way they've been able to respond.
5 games in 5 stadiums. What's coming up tonight?
We got all that. Everything tonight on the Jags. Just a crazy weekend and in the NFL, so we'll hit that. Also, obviously, everything going on in college football as well. Really excited to get things started here in just a couple of minutes.
All right, Rick Ballou goes into the night. A lot of Jaguar talk, college football, and a whole lot more. We're out of here tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. For Hayes, for Lauren, for RJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.